Chapter 1089 Obsession 1. The powerful figures in the carriage landed into Falling Sky Valley instantly. Yun, it's been 10,000 years. Seeing you today, you are still so beautiful. But I am old and feeble. Divine King Luo Shue's eyes landed on the lady before him, and a sorrowful smile was seen on his face. He did not bother about those few hidden ancient clan members. It's a pity that you cannot hear me anymore now. Divine King Luo Shue smiled gently and slowly picked up the regicide sky blade beside him. Actually, I have always been avoiding seeing you again. I have betrayed you. I always did not have the courage to face you again. Perhaps it is not a bad thing now that you can't hear me. Yun, I will avenge you. Divine King Luo Shue stood up, and his martial willpower was like a strong wave that swept through the entire place and completely enshrouded it. Divine King Luo Shue, you're already severely injured by the heavenly tribulation. What threat can the current you still deal to us? One ancient clan elderly sneered. However, just as he finished his sentence, a strange black mist appeared around Divine King Luo Shue. From now on, in this world. At this point, Divine King Luo Shue looked longingly at Yu Yun, who was not far away. Ultimately, determination filled his eyes as he said, "In this world, there will not be Divine King Luo Shue anymore." In a flash, the black mist turned into demonic air and combined with his martial willpower. An enormous pair of pitch-black wings tore Divine King Luo Shue's back apart. At this moment, there was no emotion in his eyes, which seemed like a freezing abyss. Like a supreme demon lord, he was to bring calamity to the entire world. From now on, the dark night engulfed the air. There no longer was any white light or Luo Shue. It was at this moment when the ancient clan members' expression changed drastically. They finally recalled that 10,000 years ago, before the name Divine King Luo Shue was known, he was the first-generation demon lord. Divine King Luo Shue, are you insane? Turning into a demon forcefully will drain your Buddhist vitality. From now on, you will lose yourself and eventually die too. That elderly immediately said in a frenzied rage. Back then, Divine King Luo Shue was the first-generation demon lord and was known as the everlasting degeneration demon lord. Afterward, Divine King Luo Shue realized that the path of the demons was not the right path and not what he was searching for. He then turned his demon breath into vitality and became the leader of the orthodox, Divine King Luo Shue. However, as Divine King Luo Shue was demonized once again, he would drown in his mental demons forever, and everything that belonged to him would turn into evil spirits. Once his vitality was completely burned away, he would die. At this instant, a black pearl in the air returned to Divine King Luo Shue's glabella once again. It was his third demon eye. The appearance of the demon eye spelled the resurrection of the demon body. Divine King Luo Shue turned into a demon once again. Black mist surged out from Demon Lord Luo Shue's demon eye. It seemed as though there was a recovery of the traces of divinity at this instant. All the people of Falling Sky Valley and even the peerless school wardens and disciples, who were previously killed by Demon Lord Luo Shue, actually reappeared in Falling Sky Valley. The dead actually came back alive. I'm sorry. Demon Lord Luo Shue's ice-cold demon eye looked at the lady. Swoosh. In the next second, a frightening demonic air erupted instantly. Demon Lord Luo Shue turned into a black shadow and appeared before the ancient clan figures in a few breaths' time. Chapter 1090 Obsession 2. This is bad. The hidden ancient clan members' expression changed drastically. Divine King Luo Shue turned into a demon and was burning his Buddhist vitality. His power in this period of time would be magnified greatly, and it was unimaginable. Run! The elderly shouted alarmingly. However, just as this elderly spoke, Demon Lord Luo Shue's cold demon eye had already locked onto him, and the regicide sky blade made a frightening roar. Swoosh! The regicide sky blade in Demon Lord Luo Shue's hand slashed down. Before the stunned masses, the regicide sky blade actually chopped the elderly into half. The enormous black wings behind Demon Lord Luo Shue flapped. He pulled the long white hair of the elderly and lifted his upper body as he hovered in midair. This, regardless of the Falling Sky Valley masses or the ancient clan people, Everyone was dumbstruck by this scene. How tremendous was this force? Demon Lord Luo Shui, who had been completely demonized, let out a shrilling demonic roar, and the elderly's upper body exploded into bloody fog immediately. Boom boom. Before waiting for Demon Lord Luo Shui to make another move, the heavenly tribulation above him seemed to be even more infuriated as a blood-colored streak of lightning emerged and struck towards Demon Lord Luo Shui. Noticing the situation, Demon Lord Luo Shui howled in fury. He opened his mouth to spit an endless black flame that contained an unimaginable destructive force, making it seem as if he wanted to burn this entire world down. As the blood-colored streak of lightning and black demonic flame crashed into each other, monstrous destructive energy exploded in the air. Yi Qingtang looked up in the sky. The frightening force produced from the collision of the heavenly tribulation and Demon Lord Luo Shui shattered the dimension wall completely this time. It was unpreventable and irrevocable. In no time, the powerful figures from the outside world would officially invade in roar. At this instant, the remaining bolts of lightning struck Demon Lord Luo Shui's body aggressively. Demon Lord Luo Shui roared in agony as he used his tough body to block the attack of the heavenly tribulation. Old Valley Master, why are you doing this? Tears flowed from perfected Xuanqin's eyes like an unbroken stream as he looked at Demon Lord Luo Shui, who was no longer human. Perfected Xianqin was not foolish and had already understood what happened to the Old Valley Master from the conversation before. In order to save his daughter, Perfected Xianqin once headed to the area between the clouds and mountains to search for the hidden ancient clan, which was documented in the historical records, and he wanted to find divine elixirs that could save his daughter's life. However, Perfected Xianqin never found any traces of the ancient clan and originally thought that the ancient clan did not even exist. Yet, today, they actually appeared in Falling Sky Valley, and what Perfected Xianqin never expected was that there seemed to be a deep-seated hatred between the hidden ancient clan and the Old Valley Master. Old Valley Master. The disciples of the 12 Peaks were brimming with tears as they looked at the completely demonized Old Valley Master in the air. How many young men and women in this world were deeply in love but unable to fulfill their passion and could only end their story on a heartbroken note? Quickly flee. Divine King Luo Shui is burning his vitality. His thinking and body are completely demonized already. He is unable to live for long. We just need to wait for him to die. One hidden ancient clan member shouted hurriedly. At this instant, several hidden ancient clan elderlies fled towards the gold carriages. Chapter 1091 Obsession 3. However, a black destructive force shot out from Demon Lord Luo Shui's third demon eye. In a split second, the destructive light pierced through those hidden clan figures who were escaping in a flurry, and they exploded into a bloody fog. All of the ancient clan powerful figures present at the scene died. After killing the ancient clan figures, Demon Lord Luo Shui gazed down at Falling Sky Valley. A glint flashed across his demon eyes as he opened his mouth to condense a black flame that was enough to destroy the entire Falling Sky Valley. Old Valley Master. Perfected Xianqin fell on his knees immediately, and tears streamed down his cheeks as he looked at Demon Lord Luo Shui. A complicated expression emerged in Demon Lord Luo Shui's demon eye, and the black flame ultimately dispersed. Just like that, Demon Lord Luo Shui flapped his wings and circled above Falling Sky Valley before looking at Yu Yun and flying toward her. However, he stopped a few meters away from Yu Yun and did not dare to get close to her. All he did was watch her silently from nearby. One could faintly notice his confusion and struggle. "Old friend, it's time to wake up from this dream," the regicide Sky Blade sighed softly. Persuading Demon Lord Luo Shui to part from Yu Yun. Perhaps only the regicide Sky Blade itself knew how helpless it was. Soon it was already nightfall. The force of the heavenly tribulation eventually faded. Bright stars dotted the sky. The moonlight penetrated through the clouds and lit Falling Sky Valley up. Demon Lord Luo Shui looked at Yu Yun without moving, fearful that he would disturb this lady, though he made a soft sound every now and then. He can't hold on any longer. Yi Qingtang felt a bitter feeling as she looked at Demon Lord Luo Shui, who was standing a distance away from Yu Yun. Wu, Demon Lord Luo Shui made a soft noise once again as he looked at Yu Yun. Ultimately, Demon Lord Luo Shui eventually finished burning the vitality in his body. That extremely big and tall frame fell from the sky, and his enormous wings no longer had the energy to flap. This descent, intentionally or unintentionally, landed beside Yu Yun. Laying on the cold ground, Demon Lord Luo Shui looked at the lady and opened his mouth, seeming to wish to say something, but he eventually did not utter a word. Just as the misery of Divine King Luo Shui previously, she could no longer hear his voice. Demon Lord Luo Shui stretched his demon palm out, wanting to touch Yu Yun. "I've heard your voice." Suddenly, what shocked everyone was that Yu Yun seemed to have gained consciousness, and she looked at Demon Lord Luo Shui, who was sinking into death. Yu Yun appeared bemused as she walked to Demon Lord Luo Shui and sat beside him. "Why are you so sorrowful? Are you very sad? But why is my heart aching so badly? Have we met?" "Where was it?" As Yu Yun spoke, her face was streaked with tears, though she was still as stunning and never aged. Yi Qingtang looked at Yu Yun, the extraordinary lady from 10,000 years ago. In astonishment, it was clearly just a conception of her obsession, but it actually had its own consciousness. Was this a trace of divinity? At this moment, Demon Lord Luo Shui let out a grief-stricken cry. The vitality in his body was completely burned out, and the pain tortured him like no tomorrow. Yi Qingtang did not know what kind of power allowed Demon Lord Luo Shui to hold on, but this was too cruel to him. Every time he breathed, it was the most miserable torture on earth. Chapter 1092 Obsession 4. Old Valley Master. Don't suffer anymore. Old Valley Master. Tears raced down Perfected Xuanshan's cheeks, and he kneeled and bowed to Demon Lord Luo Shui. Old Valley Master. Falling Sky Valley's disciples, peak masters, and senior executives burst into tears, and they bowed to Demon Lord Luo Shui as well. At this moment, Demon Lord Luo Shui was still persevering. He stretched his demon hand out and gently wiped the lattice tears away. However, his demon hand passed through the lattice body and could not hold on to her. "Woo!" Demon Lord Luo Shui sobbed softly. Looking at this couple who had been separated for 10,000 years, Yi Qingtang looked down, and her heart weighed down as well. In both lives, she did not know what love was, but what she witnessed today made her feel that love was deep and impactful. At this moment, Yu Yun finally heard Demon Lord Luo Shui's voice. However, Demon Lord Luo Shui could no longer speak and could only make soft whimpers like a wild beast. It was just that his demon eye seemed to want to say something. "Old friend, stop persevering already. Take it as I'm begging you," the Regicide Sky Blade said in a complicated tone. Currently, probably no one other than Demon Lord Luo Shui and the Regicide Sky Blade knew the intensity of the pain that Demon Lord Luo Shui was bearing. "She has already heard you, seen you, and known you," Yi Qingtang said softly as she looked at Demon Lord Luo Shui. Every breath that Divine King Luo Shui took was an excruciating torture. Without vitality, the torture was not just limited to his body but more so a misery from the soul. In her previous life, Yi Qingtang had admiration for the Divine King Luo Shui, who was documented in the historical records. Today, she met him and even learned of the deep love between him and Yu Yun. Looking at how Divine King Luo Shui refused to give up and rather bear the agonizing pain, Yi Qingtang eventually could not hold back and said, "Divine King Luo Shui, she is already dead. Don't obsess anymore. If Yu Yun were still alive, she probably would not be willing to see Divine King Luo Shui go through such torture." Divine King Luo Shui had never betrayed Yu Yun. Yi Qingtang's voice repeated in Demon Lord Luo Shui's mind over and over again. "Woo!" Demon Lord Luo Shui looked up at a bright star in the sky, but a woeful cry escaped him. The day was replaced by night. As Demon Lord Luo Shui looked at the lady who gradually disappeared, he was in a state of calmness. His demon eye was blurry while his demon palm was still up in the air, wanting to hold onto something which no longer existed. "My heart is aching so badly." Before Yu Yun disappeared completely, this sentence resounded for a long time. Demon Lord Luo Shui's raised arms finally fell down powerlessly at this moment. 10,000 years ago, The man sat before a little tree for God knows how many years as he waited for the little tree to grow into a towering tree, for his jet-black hair to turn snow-white. The man stood up slowly and buried all his love into the soil. From then on, he no longer mentioned it and sealed all of himself in this place. Between the mountains and clouds. That year, the flowers were in full bloom, and the forest was filled with the pleasant scent of flowers. Birds chirped in harmony. The sunlight was just right. Under the brilliant sunlight, the lady looked at him with certainty and declared that he would be hers. The man's white shirt blew in the wind. He looked at the lady in confusion, subsequently shook his head, and left. However, as the man turned around and left, his lips tugged up unknowingly. His heart that had been sealed for a long time, perhaps unbeknown to even himself, was melted by that lattice-bright smile. I am Yu Yun. I am Luo Shui. Chapter 1093 Reincarnation of the Spiritual Abode. 1. The stars shone brightly in the night sky. Demon Lord Luo Shui was sprawled on the ground 10,000 years of waiting and persistence. He used his last trace of obsession to persist to the very last moment. Yet at this moment, he eventually died. Boom boom. As Demon Lord Luo Shui died, this mainland's dimension wall exploded into 1,000,000 pieces instantly. The last line of defense that protected this mainland was broken just like that. Looking at the breathless Demon Lord Luo Shui, the entire Falling Sky Valley masses were extremely downcast. The old Valley Master who built Falling Sky Valley by himself passed away right before their eyes. Look! Just as everyone was grief-stricken, a Peak Master suddenly pointed at Demon Lord Luo Shui's body and shouted. Upon hearing that, everyone's eyes instantly landed on Demon Lord Luo Shui. Yi Qingtang looked over as well. This glance stunned Yi Qingtang. Demon Lord Luo Shui's fallen body suddenly turned into a streak of black fog and penetrated into the ground. At the same time, a blinding white light erupted from the extraordinary lattice heart in Demon Lord Luo Shui's body. Before Yi Qingtang's shocked watch, a giant tree and vines sprouted up from the ground, but it became calm very quickly again. High up in the giant tree and above the vines were 2 fruits. Yi Qingtang's eyes were popped wide open. Those 2 fruits actually gradually grew into 2 babies before their naked eyes. Everyone in Falling Sky Valley looked in astonishment at the 2 babies that formed on the tree. Disbelief filled everyone. Instinctively, Yi Qingtang took a step forward and looked at the 2 babies on the tree. Those 2 babies, one boy and one girl, had exquisitely carved features, and their eyes were shut gently. Yi Qingtang glanced at them only to realize that those 2 babies actually looked similar to Demon Lord Luo Shui and the extraordinary lady. Reincarnation of the spiritual abode? Yi Qingtang mumbled almost instinctive as astonishment emerged in her eyes. The baby girl's body was crystal clear and had a heavy spiritual abode aura while the baby boy had an overwhelming demon aura. In her previous life, after Yi Qingtang became a holy venerate, she happened to know a method that could allow a powerful figure to be reincarnated. It was called the reincarnation of the spiritual abode. This method required a powerful spiritual abode to work. The supposed source of the spiritual abode's energy was the extraordinary lattice heart. If this heart was broken, this mainland would no longer exist. However, because of Demon Lord Luo Shui, the extraordinary lattice heart was kept and stored away. Now, the 2 of them turned into 2 fruits on a tree and then turned into humans. Just as Yi Qingtang was caught in a trance, the baby boy on the tree suddenly opened his eyes. Seeming to not notice his surroundings, he immediately looked at the baby girl the first moment he opened his eyes, and his delicate little mouth suddenly opened. The baby boy seemed to be laughing as his big, bright eyes looked at the baby girl. The baby girl seemed to sense something, and her tightly shut eyes opened slowly and looked in the direction of that baby boy. Yun, Demon Lord Luo Shui. Yi Qingtang looked up at the 2 babies with a complicated expression. Chapter 1094 Reincarnation of the Spiritual Abode. 2. Yi Qingtang was unsure whether this baby girl and baby boy were Yu Yun and Demon Lord Luo Shui. It was just that these 2 babies looked too similar to both of them. Logically speaking, Yu Yun had died too long ago, and although her heart was stored, it should not be able to allow her to be reborn as a human. However, Yu Yun's spiritual abode was already different from that from ordinary people, and it was unknown if there were any unexpected occurrences. No one could be sure of what was happening exactly. Even Yi Qingtang could not be certain of the reason behind this abnormal situation before their eyes. Just as Yi Qingtang was observing the two babies, the falling sky valley masses seemed to also be looking at the two babies carefully. After seeing the face of that baby boy, one of the dejected peak masters suddenly broke out into a smile as though he found a straw to clutch at. He wiped his tears away and pointed at the baby boy. This little boy looks so similar to Old Valley Master. He must be the reincarnation of the Old Valley Master. There's no wrong in this. Quickly look, that's right. That must be the case. Another falling sky valley peak master immediately suppressed his agony and nodded repeatedly. I've already heard enough to understand just now. Our falling sky valley's Old Valley Master is Divine King Luo Shui from 10,000 years ago. For someone who is known as half a god, it is nothing for him to be reincarnated after death. Demon Lord Luo Shui built Falling Sky Valley all by himself and was kind and magnanimous to everyone in Falling Sky Valley. Regardless of the internal strife within Falling Sky Valley, the Old Valley Master was always the icon of respect for every peak master. As the peak masters stepped forward successively and looked at the baby boy, anticipatory comments could be heard. It was as though they had already firmly believed that the baby boy was none other than Demon Lord Luo Shui, who died a while ago. At this instant, the birth of the two babies in Falling Sky Valley swept the despair away. No matter the peak masters or disciples, everyone's attention was attracted by the babies, which hung on the enormous tree, and they seemed to be influenced by the pure, genuine smiles of the babies. What should we do? The two kids can't possibly be hung on the tree. Perfected Shenshin frowned slightly, and he instinctively looked at Yi Qingtang. After going through this saga, the entire Falling Sky Valley had viewed the young Lord Yi Qingtang as the backbone of Falling Sky Valley, and everyone instinctively sought for her opinion. Nonetheless, Yi Qingtang had never encountered such a situation before and could not make the most accurate judgment in a short time. Well, wait and see. After a long while, Yi Qingtang said cautiously. Since they are born on this tree and are so young right now, we cannot be sure if they will be injured if they are forcefully detached from this tree. Although Yi Qingtang was unaware of this enigma, she somehow felt that the two babies should be absorbing the nutrients of the giant tree. Everyone nodded upon hearing her. Perhaps because they felt that the baby boy was the reincarnation of Demon Lord Luo Shui, the Falling Sky Valley masses looked slightly more relieved. Only Yi Qingtang was still frowning deeply and showed no signs of relaxation. Just as everyone heaved a sigh of relief, a wild gust of wind kicked up out of a sudden. The endless wild wind seemed to want to tear everything in the world into pieces, and a piercing sound rang in the surroundings. At the same time, a pair of blood-colored eyes seemed to replace the moon as it looked down at Falling Sky Valley. A boundless and enormous force enshrouded everything that existed. Chapter 1095 Reincarnation of the Spiritual Abode 3. What is that thing? Everyone in Falling Sky Valley was appalled by the situation as they looked in disbelief. An eye that was actually as huge as the moon appeared in the sky by itself. It's still here. Yi Qingtang looked at that blood-colored eye with a frown and sighed softly. The dimension wall was the extraordinary lattice last protection for this mainland. A portion of it was already broken previously and currently, as the dimension wall was completely broken, the ancient clan of that extraordinary lady might have found this place already. 10,000 years ago, the extraordinary lady almost became a god and possessed powers that surpassed the scope of this world. Similarly, that ancient clan was extremely powerful 10,000 years ago as well. However, 10,000 years later today, the martial culture was backward and could not be compared to its initial years, and that ancient clan no longer had any gods. Yet, now that this mainland's dimension wall was broken, they naturally desired to take the extraordinary lattice spiritual abode away as it could raise the powers of their entire ancient clan by more than 10 times, 8,000 miles away from this mainland. Thousands of battleships above an ancient river were set on sail towards the mainland. Enormous demonic beasts pulled countless huge carriages in the air and led the battleships. Finally found it. A fuzzy voice sounded in the air. The energy source of the spiritual abode turned into a baby girl. We just need to obtain the baby girl and destroy the entire mainland. We also need to be careful. That mainland was once cursed by Yu Yun. Its spirit energy is extremely thin. When we reach that mainland, our martial skill will also be suppressed to the peak of the Yang Lord realm. That is why this will be an interesting war. In Falling Sky Valley, Yi Qingtang wore a serious expression. This day still came in the end. An unprecedented calamity would eventually befall on this mainland. At this instant, the peerless school wardens who were previously killed and then revived by Demon Lord Luo Shui looked at the blood-colored eye in the sky. Seeming to sense something, their expression changed instantly, and they left with the peerless school disciples. On the other hand, the Falling Sky Valley masses were in a panic. In the next few days, there was no longer any movement in that huge tree. However, the baby boy and the baby girl grew rapidly at an observable speed. In a few days, the two babies who were just newborns had already grown into children that were 2 to 3 years old. The unusual phenomenon in the sky created a paranoid atmosphere. Perfected Shenshin gave an order that forbade anyone from going near the giant tree and the two babies. Yi Qingtang was the only exception. In the deep night, Yi Qingtang stood beside the giant tree and inspected the young boy and girl. The boy's clear eyes made eye contact with Yi Qingtang, and he subsequently stretched his hands out towards Yi Qingtang. As she looked at the tiny hands that were stretched out towards herself, a warm smile spread across Yi Qingtang's face. She slowly walked forward and held the boy's hands gently. The girl opened her beautiful, bright eyes and looked at Yi Qingtang and the boy curiously. However, Yi Qingtang shuddered the moment she touched the boy, and the aura of a yin-yang perfected Lord 10th Heaven instantly rushed into Yi Qingtang's brain. This is, after sensing a yin-yang perfected Lord 10th Heaven force, a strange sentiment struck Yi Qingtang. Chapter 1096 Plunder 1. I see, Yi Qingtang mumbled after a long while. There was a trace of the aura of the 10th Heaven of yin-yang perfected Lord left in the boy's hand. Based on the aura, Yi Qingtang discovered that there was a sealed vein deep in the dantian. It seemed like a huge iron door. In order to enter the 9th heaven, or even the 10th, one needed to open the iron door. Yi Qingtang withdrew her hand after a long while. Her eyes were filled with complex emotions. The aura of 10th heaven of yin-yang perfected Lord in the boy's hand was exactly the same as the Luo Shui Demon King. Yi Qingtang was very sure at this point that the boy was the Luo Shui Demon King that was dead. The girl should be the extraordinary Lady Yu Yun. Mother, the boy was slightly grudging when Yi Qingtang pulled her hand back. Yi Qingtang was stunned as the boy suddenly spoke. The baby just called her mother? The boy suddenly laughed as Yi Qingtang spoke. Before Yi Qingtang could say anything, both the boy and the girl seemed to be tired. They closed their eyes and fell asleep. Yi Qingtang felt even more complicated. She just confirmed that the Luo Shui Demon King was reborn as the little boy, and the powerful person that she admired in her previous life just called her mother. Yi Qingtang suddenly did not know how to react. But soon, her emotions faded, and she looked up into the sky. The giant blood-red eye was still there in midair. Based on her calculations, the invaders from the second mainland were going to be here soon. Yi Qingtang frowned with a heavy heart. Another 2 days had passed. The peace in the Falling Sky Valley only remained for a few days and was broken again today. The hidden ancient clan appeared in the sky again. A few powerful people of the ancient clan sparkled as they saw the boy and the girl on the giant tree. All peak masters and disciples of Falling Sky Valley ran to the tree and protected the boy and the girl with their bodies. One middle-aged man of the hidden ancient clan's sight landed on the two children. A strange glint appeared in his eyes. The boy should be the reincarnation of Luo Shui Demon King. The girl should be where the power of the spiritual abode comes from. We can achieve anything if we can get the girl. There were 3 yin-yang perfected lords who were at the 10th heaven in the hidden ancient clan. All of them were killed by the Luo Shui Demon King. Now, there were no more 10th heaven yin-yang perfected lords in the ancient clan anymore. As long as they could get the girl, besides the 10th heaven, they could even break the curse of the mainland. If they could consume her body, They could even get immortal life. Suddenly, the aura of 8th Heaven Yin Yang Perfected Lord surrounded the entire falling sky valley. Everyone's expression changed upon feeling the terrifying aura. Well, spare your life if you hand over the boy and the girl to us. One of the middle-aged men looked down at everyone in the falling sky valley and said, "Don't even think about it." One of the peak masters shouted coldly. They were very sure that the boy was the reincarnation of their old valley master. Chapter 1097 Plunder 2. They would never hand over the boy and the girl even if they had to die here today. The few ancient clan people were a little surprised after hearing that. Apparently, they did not expect that the people below dared to resist their orders. Their faces immediately clouded. They had never put people of the falling sky valley in their eyes. It was extremely easy to kill everyone in the valley. However, the girl was very fragile. They could kill everyone in the valley instantly. However, the force might hurt the girl as well. They could not afford the loss if the girl died here. You overestimated your capabilities. A few ancient clan people landed and walked straight towards the huge tree. What do you want? A few peak masters walked forward, trying to block them. However, before they could get to the ancient clan people, they had to retreat under their aura. All the ancient clan people were young lords. Normal people could never be able to fight them. Perfected Xianxin and the rest could not do anything in front of the ancient clan people even though they wanted to protect the two babies. The boy seemed to feel the greedy sight of the ancient clan people. He suddenly landed onto the ground from the tree after staying on the tree for the past few days. When he was falling, he hugged the girl's feet and dragged her down as well. The moment the two of them landed, the boy pulled the confused girl towards somewhere safe. Oh! The few ancient clan people's lips tugged up into an unknown smile, and their interest seemed to be aroused. However, one of them stepped out and blocked the boy's way. The boy fell to the ground and moved back a few steps back. The girl stared at the ancient clan figure with fear. The boy rushed forward again. He stretched his hands and pulled the girl behind her. Luo Shui Demon King, how did you end up like this now? Interesting, this is very interesting. The middle-aged man in the golden robe stared at the boy with interest and laughed. However, Luo Shui Demon King, you don't need to rush. After getting the woman's spiritual abode, we will nurture you. You will be the most powerful killer of the hidden ancient clan. In the future, you'll act according to our order and be a puppet. You'll have no sorrow and anxiety. The middle-aged man in the golden robe laughed again. The boy was the reincarnation of Luo Shui Demon King and might even possess martial talent beyond the Luo Shui Demon King. If he could grow up, he would be a renowned supreme chief. The ancient clan would dare to attack the third domain with his help. The girl shivered and hid behind the boy. Her eyes were filled with fear and anxiety. Listen to me and move now. The middle-aged man in the golden robe stared at the boy and smiled coldly. However, the boy did not seem to hear his words as he had no intention to move. Humph, it seems like you don't know what the right thing to do is. The smile on the middle-aged man in golden robe faded. His face was cold and expressionless. Chapter 1098 Plunder 3. The middle-aged man in the golden robe kneeled down and snapped the boy's forehead with his finger. The boy was pushed backward and fell to the ground. The man in the golden robe scoffed and grabbed the girl. The boy got up suddenly and ran toward the man in golden robe. His eyes were red. He waved his little fist and punched towards the man's leg. Little bastard. No wonder you're the reincarnation of the Luo Shui Demon Lord. Exactly like him. The man in the golden robe scoffed and kicked the boy away. I have to admit that the little bastard is indeed special. I don't know how you magically grow on a tree after reincarnation. Your body is so strong without any cultivation at such a young age. The man in the golden robe laughed coldly. If he was a normal child, he would not be able to endure the man's kick at all. Jin Gang, take the little bastard as well. The man in the golden robe gave a command to a strong man behind him. The strong man of the ancient clan nodded. He stepped forward and grabbed the boy's hair to pull him up from the ground. What do you want? Let go of the two children. Perfected Xianxin and a few peak masters walked forward and tried to stop the ancient clan people. A bunch of useless idiots. The golden-robed man shouted in rage. His strong martial aura suddenly flowed out. Perfected Xianxin and the rest were forced backward by the aura. Humph, you'll be dead now if there was no presence of the source of the spiritual abode here, the man in the golden robe sneered. Before Perfected Xianxin and the rest could say anything, a red shadow suddenly flashed across the air. Swoosh! A scarlet gleam rushed into the sky as the sword slashed towards the man in the golden robe. The man in the golden robe dodged backward when he sensed the threat. However, the girl in his hand was grabbed away by the scarlet figure instantly. Read more chapters at L.'s novel. The scarlet figure hugged the girl and smashed her other hand towards the strong man of the ancient clan at the same time. The strong man was not able to dodge. He was hit by the hand directly, and the boy in his hand was taken away as well. The figure then showed herself. Yi Qingtang was dressed in red and hugged the girl and the boy. She looked towards the man in the golden robe and the rest coldly. Hidden ancient clan. How majestic. How dare you to bully two children here? Lord, the few ancient clan figures were a little surprised after sensing Yi Qingtang's young lord power. They did not expect that there was a young lord in the negligible sect. Furthermore, she must be very powerful to be able to take the two children from their hands. The boy was delighted as Yi Qingtang appeared. He grabbed her right hand tightly. Be good, Yi Qingtang bent down and put down the girl. She handed over the girl to the boy and smiled. Take care of her. The boy's eyes sparkled and nodded. Yi Qingtang stood up. Her red clothes were swaying in the wind. She took a step forward and scanned through the ancient clan figures coldly. You want to take the two of them away? Chapter 1099 I will certainly protect you. 1. One of the ancient clan figures looked up at Yi Qingtang and scoffed. It's not easy for you to become a young lord. Leave right now. You do not want to be involved in this. However, Yi Qingtang had no intention to leave at all. She stepped forward, and her eyes swept through everyone coldly. Both the Luo Shui Divine King and the extraordinary lady had nothing to do with her previously. However, after witnessing everything that happened between the Luo Shui Divine King and Yu Ruo, she could not just stand at the side. Yi Qingtang was reborn and went through 2 lives. She understood the kindness and hopelessness in the world. She only acted according to her heart. She would definitely protect the 2 children. They're my son and daughter. What kind of relationship do I have with them? Yi Qingtang showed no sense of fear even though she was facing a few young lords alone. Your son and daughter? The few ancient clan figures looked at each other and laughed. The boy and the girl grew from the tree, and you're saying that they're your son and daughter? The man in the golden robe scorned. Yi Qingtang's sight swept through the 2 children beside her. The boy called her mother a few days ago. She did not know how to react back then, but today, she accepted that. From today onwards, she would be their mother. She would definitely protect them no matter what was going to happen ahead. Now I am, Yi Qingtang said indifferently. Oh, the eyes of the man in the golden robe darkened. You're saying that you purposely want to go against the ancient clan now? Yi Qingtang did not want to find any trouble, but she was not afraid of anything. Read more chapters at L.'s novel. At the same time in the Blood Moon Palace, a blood-red robe was swaying along with the wind. The blood moon at the man's glabella spread its heretic power as the man opened his eyes slowly. Is it time for the decision? The man mumbled softly. Lord, what are you going to do? A young man's figure appeared. I have my decision. The blood moon holy lord waved his right arm and disappeared. In the falling sky valley, Yi Qingtang was more determined against the few ancient clan figures. She showed no intention to retreat. Today, I'll certainly protect these 2 children, Yi Qingtang said coldly towards the golden-robed man. His face darkened upon hearing her words. The ancient clan was the ruler of the mainland. Though they remained hidden, their power was insurmountable. You're looking for your death here. The man in golden robe shouted. His martial power spread towards all directions instantly and surrounded the falling sky valley. Yi Qingtang did not even frown after sensing the power of the young lord. She had nothing to be afraid of as long as they were not the 10th heaven elders of the ancient clan. Swoosh! The golden-robed man pulled his sword out and slashed towards Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang grabbed the boy and the girl immediately and stepped backward swiftly. A deafening sound exploded. As the sword glint flashed, the palace behind Yi Qingtang collapsed. All retreat first. Yi Qingtang glanced at every one of the Falling Sky Valley and said, the Falling Sky Valley's power was incomparable with the hidden ancient clan. The fight between young lords could kill everyone of the Falling Sky Valley with just the aftershocks. Chapter 1100. I will certainly protect you, too. Though everyone in the Falling Sky Valley was very anxious, they knew clearly that their abilities were incomparable with the ancient clan figures. They could not do anything and had to retreat and keep a safe distance away from them. The entire square was empty instantly. After settling the two children, Yi Qingtang was ready to walk forward. However, before she could walk out, the boy suddenly hugged her leg. Yi Qingtang paused and looked down at the little figure who was hugging her leg. The boy's eyes were filled with concern and anxiety. It seemed like he did not want Yi Qingtang to leave and hugged her leg even more tightly. A smile filled Yi Qingtang's eyes as she saw the anxiety on the little boy's face. She was never the target of concern in the past. Before Yi Qingtang could ask the little boy to release his hand, the little girl who was standing at the side suddenly ran over and mimicked the boy's movement to hug Yi Qingtang's other leg. Yi Qingtang suddenly did not know how to react as she stared at the two children who were hugging her legs and did not want her to leave. Did the two little children really recognize her as their mother? Oh, mother. Scared, the boy's eyes sparkled as he mumbled, protect her. I will be back soon, okay? Yi Qingtang looked at the boy kindly and gently touched his head. Yes. Though the child was not very willing to let go, eventually he nodded. He released Yi Qingtang and stood beside the girl. Yi Qingtang stood up as the softness in her eyes was replaced by a trace of malice. Yi Qingtang turned into a shadow instantly and disappeared. The moment when Yi Qingtang left, one of the ancient clan figures suddenly appeared from a corner and came to the boy and the girl. A black glint exploded from the boy's eyes as he sensed the intention of the man. His body was filled with intense fiend aura. The fiend aura was like a deep whirlpool that caused the ancient clan figure to retreat backward. Read more chapters at l.isnovel.com. Not bad. The ancient clan figure's eyes sparkled as he sensed the power of the fiend aura. The power of young lord suddenly arose, and the fiend aura was dispersed. He stretched his hand towards the boy. However, at the same time, a sword shadow suddenly flashed across together with a terrifying sword aura. Puff! Before the ancient clan figure could understand the situation, his right arm was chopped off by the sword breath. Ah! The ancient clan figure screamed and stepped back. The heaven-level divine weapon, Regicide Sky Blade, landed from the air and pierced into the ground, in front of the boy and the girl. Divine King Luo Shui's heaven-level divine weapon, Regicide Sky Blade. The ancient clan figure gritted his teeth as he stared at the sword. He tried to stop the bleeding of his arm and did not dare to get close. Yi Qingtang did not leave the place as she planned to hide in the dark to see if anyone would sneak attack. The result was as she had expected. However, she did not expect that the divine King Luo Shui's Regicide Sky Blade would suddenly appear and protect the two children. This turn of events gave Yi Qingtang a sense of relief. The hidden ancient clan had too many young lords. If just one of them refused to let her go, she would be unable to escape, and they could kill the two children. Now, with the protection of a heaven-level divine weapon, Yi Qingtang could stop worrying. However, Yi Qingtang also knew that ever since the fall of the divine King Luo Shui, the Regicide Sky Blade's divine sense had been sealed again. Right now, the Regicide Sky Blade did not have much power left and might not be able to last for long. You have a death wish. A cold light glittered in the eyes of the golden-robed middle-aged man. He stepped forward. The entire Falling Sky Valley seemed to shudder violently. The golden-robed man struck at Yi Qingtang. His sword stroke was one of incomparable martial willpower. Yi Qingtang frowned deeply at the strength of this willpower. The powerful cultivators from the ancient hidden clan did not have the power of a yin-yang perfected Lord 10th Heaven, but their martial arts foundation was very strong. Even Yi Qingtang did not dare to underestimate them. In a moment, Yi Qingtang and the golden-robed man were embroiled in a sword duel. In an instant, the two had exchanged a dozen blows. As the long swords clashed, the ringing noise reverberated continually. The swords flashed repeatedly through the air as if it had become a country of swords. The golden-robed man looked at Yi Qingtang with a trace of shock. This young girl was only a yin-yang perfected lord at the peak of the seventh heaven, but her true ability was on par with that of an eighth heaven yin-yang perfected lord. Wow, the young geniuses in this mainland. The golden-robed man looked thoughtful. Considering Yi Qingtang's age, she was already incredibly talented to attain the seventh heaven of yin-yang perfected lord. To the golden-robed man, an ordinary young lord was not even worth mentioning. But this girl was different. Heavenly tyrant technique. The golden-robed man suddenly bellowed in rage. A blinding golden glow surfaced on his body. His entire person seemed to explode with the light of a small sun. At the same time, the golden-robed man once again raised the sword in his hand and struck at Yi Qingtang. Clang! A crisp ringing sound resounded in the void. At that moment, a crimson glow surfaced all around Yi Qingtang. The figure of a phoenix appeared behind her. A pair of clear eyes that seemed to pierce through heaven and earth, and a breath of ancient air rushed towards him. As he felt a force pressing against his bloodline, the golden-robed man's expression changed slightly, and he retreated. However, Yi Qingtang did not give the golden-robed man any breathing space. She forced the power of her phoenix bloodline to its peak and used her person to oppress the golden-robed man. Humph! The golden-robed man grunted coldly. As Yi Qingtang drew near, he did not dodge but advanced instead. Ha! If you let me come near you, you will certainly die. The golden-robed man transformed into an illusion. When he reappeared, he had already caught hold of Yi Qingtang's right arm. When she heard that, Yi Qingtang's lips curved upwards slightly and arched into a sly smile. If I did not deliberately make a mistake, you couldn't possibly touch me. The golden-robed man laughed coldly. You are at death's door and you still want to have the last word. Now that I have caught you, you're dead. As he spoke, a trace of a black glow surfaced on the golden-robed man's right palm. It was filled with a startling corrosive force. This corrosive force could corrode a mountain, much less a body. However, at that moment, Yi Qingtang's body suddenly burst into crimson flames. Within the span of 2 breaths, Yi Qingtang had used the power of the divine phoenix's bloodline to completely transform into a towering ball of fire. The golden-robed man looked somewhat perplexed. He looked at the ball of roaring flames, unable to recover his wits. At that moment, 2 other powerful cultivators from the ancient clan looked shocked. It was clear that the golden-robed middle-aged man had fallen into this girl's trap. Yi Qingtang had the divine phoenix's bloodline and understood its ultimate origin skill. These 2 forces had been perfectly integrated in Yi Qingtang's body and could transform into a pure manifestation of power. This destructive flame was a type of pure manifestation of power and was imbued with a huge destructive force. Considering the golden-robed middle-aged man's abilities, he was so near to Yi Qingtang that he would certainly die if he was surrounded and burned by the pure fire that Yi Qingtang had transformed into. However, just as the expressions of these 2 powerful cultivators of the ancient clan changed, after Yi Qingtang transformed into pure flames, the golden-robed middle-aged man did not have time to react before his entire body was consumed by the flames. His entire person was instantly burned into ashes. Having pulled off her move smoothly, the towering pure flames concentrated at one point again and transformed into Yi Qingtang's actual self. The other 2 powerful cultivators of the ancient tribe tried to rescue him, but it was too late. They had not been prepared for Yi Qingtang to transform into flames, much less the golden-robed man. In addition, the flames had been just too powerful. The golden-robed man had been completely burned in an instant, and they had not been in time to act. Was that the power of the phoenix bloodline? A few powerful cultivators of the ancient clan glared at Yi Qingtang. Their expressions were extremely gloomy. Don't underestimate your enemy. A cold light glittered in the eyes of the ancient clan's powerful cultivators. The power of this girl's bloodline could probably be traced to ancient times. Furthermore, her body could be transformed into the pure power of fire. That would be difficult to deal with. Before the powerful cultivators of the ancient tribe could make any move, the giant blood-red eye in the void suddenly started to move. In an instant, the giant blood-red eye exploded in a storm of blood-red rays. The next moment, everyone saw the blood-red rays condense into arrows, which continually rushed out from the eye. They shot towards this mainland in all directions. Boom, 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 boom. A blood-red arrow fell on a mountain near the falling sky valley. Under everyone's startled gaze, the entire mountain instantly transformed into dust and was completely crushed. Eye of extermination? At that moment, the powerful cultivators of the ancient tribe all looked shocked. At that moment, everyone finally understood what the eye in the void was. Let's go! The powerful cultivators of the ancient clan exchanged glances and instantly came to a decision. Even a young lord at the level of Yin Yang perfected lord could not withstand the huge power of the eye of extermination. If they even brushed against it, they would be reduced to dust. But because of this mainland, the eye of extermination's powers were weakened. However, the ancient hidden tribe was unwilling to go up against it casually. Even the power of a weakened eye of extermination was sufficient to severely injure them. It was too dangerous to remain here. If they returned to the ancient clan, they might still be able to withstand the power of the eye of extermination. With that, the powerful cultivators of the ancient clan flew into the void and vanished without a trace. Blood-red destructive forces continued to pour out of the giant eye in the void. Every arrow that flew out was the accumulation of destructive force. When they landed on various parts of the mainland, they completely exterminated every living thing there. We've been looking for you for a long time. As these things were going on, a group of men and women appeared in the void. Yin Yang child glared down at Yi Qingtang and laughed coldly. Absolute monarch of heaven waved his hand, and everyone immediately descended into the valley. After the events of the Dragon Vein had concluded, they tried to leave the mainland, but for some reason, this mainland had been tightly sealed by someone. They had no way of breaking the seal from within and so had no choice but to stay in this mainland. Yi Qingtang had obtained the incomparable divine phoenix's inheritance in the Dragon Vein, and everyone wanted to look for her to see if she could use the power of the divine phoenix to break the seal. Everyone swiftly descended into the falling sky valley. Yi Qingtang looked at Yin Yang child and the others who had suddenly arrived, and a trace of shock involuntarily flashed across her eyes. An idea suddenly rose in her heart. Everyone, please lend me a hand, Yi Qingtang said as she looked at absolute monarch of heaven and the others. When they heard Yi Qingtang's words, everyone was taken aback. They did not know what she meant. You want us to join forces and stop the eye of extermination? A black-robed old man looked at Yi Qingtang. That's right. Yi Qingtang nodded slightly. The eye of extermination was formidable. By herself, she could not oppose it. Once the power of the eye of extermination engulfed them, not a soul would be left alive in the falling sky valley. Fortunately, Yin Yang child and the others had arrived at an opportune moment. Yi Qingtang remembered the promise they had made when they had obtained the treasure from the divine phoenix's inheritance. This would certainly come in use now. Everyone exchanged glances. Although they did not know why Yi Qingtang wanted to protect this area, they had promised the divine phoenix and signed a contract with it, agreeing to help the person who obtained the inheritance as much as possible. The contract was linked to the girl who had obtained the inheritance of the divine phoenix, Yi Qingtang. If Yi Qingtang had not used the power of the divine phoenix's bloodline, they would not have been able to find her so quickly. Everyone, the power of the eye of extermination is great, but it is not difficult to block it, Black and White Holy Sun said. The next second, amazing power flowed out around everyone. It formed into a substantial shield that could be seen by the naked eye, and it enclosed the falling sky valley. When the arrows of extermination fell on the shield jointly created by everyone, it was like water sinking into sand. It did not even leave any ripples. After Yi Qingtang had left instructions with absolute monarch of heaven, Black and White Holy Sun, and the others, she headed for the formidable Heavens dynasty with the two children. Nothing would go amiss in the Falling Sky Valley with the powerful cultivators in central mainland protecting it. However, based on their ability and foundation, the Yi and Si families had no way of withstanding the power of the Eye of Extermination. Yi Qingtang could not help but worry about the two children, so she had no choice but to bring them with her. Yi Qingtang arrived at the Yunxiao sect within a few hours. The Yi family's headquarters had been moved here. At first glance, she could tell that almost half the Yunxiao sect had been destroyed by the power of the Eye of Extermination. Everyone from the Yi and Si families was trying their best to hold out. Although Yi Qingtang did not know why the Si family was here, she had no time to ponder the matter further. Swoosh! At that moment, a blood-red arrow fell from the void and headed for the Yunxiao sect. When they saw that, everyone from the Yi and Si families looked shocked. They were unable to withstand such a strong destructive force. However, at that moment, Yi Qingtang descended from the void. Her entire body was filled with an immense demonic aura. She swiftly forced the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline to its peak. Boom! Yi Qingtang reached out and grabbed the blood-red arrow, which instantly exploded in her palm. However, the force of destruction was absorbed by the heavenly demon-devouring power. At that moment, a trace of shock surfaced in Yi Qingtang's eyes. After she absorbed the force of the Eye of Extermination, both her personal cultivation level and the strength of her heavenly demon-devouring bloodline were elevated. Eldest young lady. When they saw Yi Qingtang, Bai Kuei and Daoist Zijin looked rather agitated. Yi Qingtang rapidly descended among the ruins of the Yunxiao sect. Master Si, Yi Ling, and the others all quickly surrounded Yi Qingtang. Tang, what's going on? Yi Ling walked over to Yi Qingtang and asked with a frown. A few days ago, a blood-red eye had appeared in the void. No one in the Yi family recognized the giant blood-red eye. When the Si family heard that the Yi family had exterminated the Yunxiao sect, Master Si brought Si Bai and the others in his family over to congratulate them. However, not long after they arrived, the blood-red giant eye suddenly exploded with a terrifying force of destruction. A large portion of the Yunxiao sect had been destroyed. If Yi Qingtang had not arrived in time, the consequences would have been devastating. Even Bai Kuei and Daoist Zijin were at a loss, much less Yi Ling. They did not know what the blood-red giant eye was. Yi Qingtang explained the sequence of events so that everyone could be mentally prepared. The fight between this mainland and central mainland's ancient tribe would soon cause widespread death and destruction. Even Yi Qingtang could not say for sure if she would survive. A powerful enemy from the external world has invaded? When they heard Yi Qingtang's explanation, both the Yi and the Si families were shocked. All of you pack your things and come with me to the Nine Knights Dynasty's Falling Sky Valley, Yi Qingtang said bluntly. This place was dangerous. Only the Falling Sky Valley, which was protected by many powerful cultivators of central mainland, was somewhat safer. All right. As time was pressing, they did not ask any more questions and followed Yi Qingtang's instructions. At that moment, Yi Qingtang was standing in the void. She was looking at the blood-red arrows that were scattered everywhere. A mysterious gleam appeared in her eyes. With that, Yi Qingtang started actively flying towards the blood-red arrows. These arrows of extermination could be devoured by her heavenly demon-devouring bloodline. Besides elevating her own personal cultivation level, it could also purify her bloodline. Yi Qingtang could not waste such a golden opportunity. Under the shocked gaze of the Yi and Si families, Yi Qingtang actively headed for the arrows of extermination. When she touched them, these arrows that were imbued with the power of destruction were instantly transformed into nothing. They were completely absorbed by Yi Qingtang. After half a day, the arrows of extermination within a radius of 100 miles had been almost completely devoured by Yi Qingtang. When Yi Qingtang reappeared in the sky above the Yunxiao sect, her cultivation level had increased significantly. Yin Yang perfected Lord 8th Heaven, Yi Qingtang muttered to herself thoughtfully. That's strange. I can't tell what eldest young lattice cultivation level is anymore. Daoist Zijin stared at Yi Qingtang in shock. Yi Qingtang had absorbed many arrows of extermination. The aura in her body had reverted to its original state so that her ability was hidden. Her aura now looked no different from that of an ordinary cultivator. Especially after the small boy had enlightened her on how to enter the 10th heaven of Yin-Yang Perfected Lord, Yi Qingtang's aura was now near intangible. Are you ready? Yi Qingtang looked down in the direction of the Yunshao sect. We are ready. Elder Bai Kuei nodded. When she heard that, Yi Qingtang nodded and led both families in the direction of Falling Sky Valley. The Formidable Heavens dynasty and the Nine Knights dynasty were far apart. However, the Yunshao sect was situated in the portion of the Formidable Heavens dynasty that was near the external world, so it was not too bad. Because Absolute Monarch of Heaven, Black and White Holy Sun, and the other powerful cultivators of Central Mainland were holding the fort in Falling Sky Valley, the Eye of Extermination had not posed too great of a threat. At that moment, in the public square of the Falling Sky Valley, the two children were following Yi Qingtang closely. They were unwilling to leave her even for a minute, and Yi Qingtang had no choice but to allow them to do so. Qing, these are... Perfected Xuanzhen's eyes were filled with astonishment. He looked first at Absolute Monarch of Heaven and the other powerful cultivators from Central Mainland, then at the Yi and Si families. Yi Qingtang did not hide their identities and introduced everyone. And these are friends from Central Mainland? Perfected Xianxin and the group from the Falling Sky Valley looked at Absolute Monarch of Heaven, Yin-Yang Child, Black and White Holy Sun, and the others. They were somewhat shocked. In the first domain, Central Mainland was the mainland with the most flourishing martial culture. Also, Central Mainland's land area was hundreds of times bigger than that of this mainland. A small country in Central Mainland probably had as much land area as this mainland. So you are a native of this mainland, how unexpected. A man in black armor looked at Yi Qingtang and laughed softly. They had thought that Yi Qingtang, who had obtained the inheritance of the Divine Phoenix, was also a citizen of Central Mainland. But it turned out that Yi Qingtang was from this mainland. This realization surprised everyone. After all, this mainland's reputation for martial arts was beneath the notice of the powerful cultivators of Central Mainland. They had not expected that their longed-for inheritance of the Divine Phoenix would be obtained by Yi Qingtang, who was from this mainland. To the others from Central Mainland, this was shocking. However, they did not discuss it further. How strange, why is the ancient Yu clan attacking this mainland? Yin-Yang Child looked at the Eye of Extermination in the void, his expression perplexed. Ancient Yu ancient clan? When he heard that, Perfected Xianxin was taken aback. Don't you know? Yin-Yang Child looked at Perfected Xianxin and the other local residents. But on second thought, there was no reason for them to know about this, and he continued. The ancient Yu clan is one of the oldest clans in Central Mainland. They can trace their roots back for 10,000 years. In the past, an emperor-level tyrant emerged in the ancient Yu clan. He was almost a demigod, but unfortunately, 10,000 years later, the first domain's martial culture declined for some reason. The heavenly venerate-level powerful cultivators were all at their peak. Even the ancient Yu clan could not escape their fate and declined. You may say that, but it was not just the ancient Yu clan that declined, but the entire first domain, said a black-robed old man from Central Mainland. 10,000 years ago, the first domain was more powerful than even the third domain. However, the first domain had a gap in its history. After the gap, the first domain started to decline and became the most backward of the three domains in terms of martial culture, the black-robed old man said. I think you had better be prepared. The ancient Yu clan is truly dominant within Central Mainland. Even the heavenly demon bloodline clan's domain monarch and his kin are unwilling to provoke the ancient Yu clan. Once their Eye of Extermination appears, the entire area will become desolate. If the ancient Yu clan wishes to invade this mainland, then it will certainly be exterminated. Yin-Yang Child laughed coldly. The ancient Yu clan's perennial wars had extended to many of the more powerful mainlands in the first domain, not to mention a low-level mainland like this one. Even many of the high-level mainlands in the first domain had been exterminated and annexed by the ancient Yu clan. Now, the power of the ancient Yu clan was beyond estimation. Rumor had it that the ancient Yu clan needed a mere half a month to exterminate a high-level mainland. To Yin-Yang Child, Black and White Holy Sun, and the others, if the ancient Yu clan wanted to exterminate this mainland, it would only take 2 or 3 days. When they heard that, everyone in the Falling Sky Valley turned pale. They had grown up in this mainland. No matter how backward it was in terms of martial culture or how low level it was in the first domain, it was special to them. How could they bear to see this mainland exterminated? Their parents, relatives, siblings, and all their accompanying memories were tied to this mainland. They could not bear to abandon it, but now, no matter how they wished to protect it, they were so frail in the eyes of the powerful ancient tribe of Central Mainland. How could this happen? Perfected Xianxun was slightly pale. After he learned from the powerful cultivators of Central Mainland about how powerful the ancient Yu clan was, Perfected Xianxun was desperate. It is not inevitable. At that moment, Yi Qingtang suddenly spoke up. Not inevitable. Yin Yang Child stared at Yi Qingtang. He lifted his brows slightly and laughed coldly. What do you know? Do you know how powerful the ancient Yu clan is? Yi Qingtang flicked a glance at Yin Yang Child. This brat was asking for a good thrashing. Fortunately, he was capable enough, and his father was fairly capable. Otherwise, his personality alone would have attracted enough enemies for him to have died a few times. Although Yin Yang Child deserved a thrashing, at that moment, Yi Qingtang was not in the mood to chastise him. The current situation was more urgent than beating up a brat. No matter how powerful the ancient Yu clan is, they are at most Yin Yang perfected lords in this mainland. Yi Qingtang's gaze swept across everyone as she succinctly pointed out the crux of the matter. When they heard Yi Qingtang's words, everyone was stunned. Absolute Monarch of Heaven and the group of powerful cultivators from Central Mainland all looked thoughtful. Yi Qingtang's words gave them all an insight. Before they came to this mainland, all of them were at least at the arcane supremacy stage of martial cultivation. But, once they entered this mainland, their powers were all suddenly suppressed to the level of Yin Yang perfected lord. Further, this power of suppression was the strongest just after entering the mainland, and they could only achieve the 4th heaven of Yin Yang perfected lord. As time passed, the oppressive force slowly weakened, and the martial capabilities of the visitors entered the peak of Yin Yang perfected lord. This also meant that no matter how strong they were, once they came to this mainland, they would at most possess the peak strength of a Yin Yang perfected lord. Even a god would be the same. So what? How many Yin Yang perfected lords does this mainland have when compared to the ancient Yu clan? They are on a completely different level. They will crush you just based on numbers. Yin Yang Child was still unconvinced. Yi Qingtang did not refute this point. Although Yin Yang Child was annoying, what he said was true. The ancient Yu clan's roots and culture went back at least 10,000 years. How could this mainland compare to them? When he saw that Yi Qingtang did not speak further, Yin Yang Child was rather amused to no one arguing with him. In the end, he frowned and said, "I'm just saying that, perhaps there really is a solution. You don't need to be despondent." Yin Yang Child, you really have an irritating mouth. The man in black armor glared at Yin Yang Child and smiled coldly. Without his father's powerful reputation, Yin Yang Child would probably have been beaten to death already for his irritating mouth. He's right though, Yi Qingtang said as she glanced at Yin Yang Child. Yi Qingtang never deceived herself and others. This mainland was not sufficiently united, and it was unrealistic to expect it to unite against the ancient Yu clan's invasion. Now, it was impossible for Yi Qingtang to single-handedly withstand the invasion of the ancient Yu clan. However, if people on this mainland could unite together, there might still be a sliver of hope. Why haven't you left this mainland? Yi Qingtang suddenly asked Absolute Monarch of Heaven and the others. She thought that the powerful cultivators from Central Mainland would leave after obtaining the treasure from the Divine Phoenix's inheritance. However, they unexpectedly remained in this mainland. She did not understand why they were still here. Do you think we don't want to leave? The moment Yin Yang Child recalled the matter, the corners of his mouth twitched, and he snorted coldly. We don't know which wretch performed the forbidden formation on this mainland. There is temporarily no way out. This mainland was under the forbidden formation? A trace of shock surfaced in Yi Qingtang's eyes. For some reason, she suddenly thought of Ling Yan, whom she had not seen for some time. In that case, why don't you stay and protect this mainland? After a moment, Yi Qingtang laughed softly and asked. Impossible. Yin Yang Child immediately shook his head. This is beyond our abilities. We have no wish to provoke the ancient Yu clan. Yi Qingtang looked at Yin Yang Child and immediately nodded. She seriously and helplessly said, in that case, I shall not force you. However, the ancient Yu clan is about to kill every living thing on this mainland. Since you can't leave now, when the time comes, the ancient Yu clan will exterminate you together with this mainland. Don't blame anyone then. The previously fearless and disdainful Yin Yang Child's face immediately darkened at Yi Qingtang's words. How could he have overlooked this? Ha! The black-robed old man, who had obtained longevity from the divine phoenix, laughed. What Miss Yi says makes sense. 10,000 years ago, this mainland was created from the spiritual abode of ancient Yu clan's most prominent and powerful figure. After the dimension wall cracked, the ancient Yu clan naturally came to this mainland to destroy everything and take back the spiritual abode. Now that we are situated in this mainland, we will probably be destroyed together with it. Based on the ancient Yu clan's modus operandi, they would destroy everything once they arrived in this mainland. The ancient Yu clan would naturally ignore people like them. Now that they were unable to leave this mainland, they would probably be destroyed along with it if they did not fight back. The central mainland people were sullen. They originally came here to obtain the divine phoenix inheritance, but now, they failed to obtain it and were embroiled into such a huge crisis instead. This was clearly forcing them to go through life and death with the people on this mainland. At this instant, they ever so dearly wanted to catch the person who laid the forbidden formation and trapped them in this place. If they did not give that person a beating, their resentment would not be resolved. The central mainland people looked at each other and saw despair in each other's eyes. Even if they wanted to leave now, it was impossible. If they wanted to keep their lives, they could only fight together with this mainland. The reaction of the masses fell into Yi Qingtang's eyes. A smile emerged in Yi Qingtang's eyes discreetly, and she said, please rest in the valley for a period of time. You may also take time to think things through, as it is not a small matter after all. She was not in a hurry at all. The ones who should be panicking were the powerful figures from the central mainland who were entrapped by the forbidden formation. Yin Yang Child could only nod helplessly. Subsequently, perfected Xianxin walked forward and personally brought Absolute Monarch of Heaven and the rest into the guest rooms of Falling Sky Valley. Afterward, he settled down the people from Yi family and Si family. On the other hand, Yi Qingtang brought the two little kids into the room she used when she was a disciple in Falling Sky Valley. In the room, Yi Qingtang sat on the edge of her bed cross-legged and fully consolidated her yin-yang perfected Lord 8th Heaven Realm. It was a pity that the attack of the Eye of Extermination had come to an end temporarily. Otherwise, if she could continuously absorb the energy of the arrows of extermination with her devouring bloodline. At this moment, the little boy walked to the bedside, and his big eyes blinked at Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang immediately hugged the boy and pinched his nose as she chuckled. What is it? Name. The little boy pointed at himself expectantly. Did this little fellow wish to know his name? Yi Qingtang looked at the little fellow, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. She had never thought of this before, but since this little fellow was so expectant, Yi Qingtang propped her chin on her hand and pondered for a moment. A smile emerged in her eyes subsequently, and she looked at the little boy. From now on, you'll be called Little Luo Shui, all right? All right. Little Luo Shui nodded obediently. Without waiting for Yi Qingtang to say anything else, the girl walked over as well and looked at Yi Qingtang expectantly. You'll be called Little Yu Yun. Yi Qingtang looked at the girl and said. Little Yu Yun was delighted and nodded repeatedly. Although Little Luo Shui and Little Yu Yun were born not long ago, they were extremely intelligent and understood human language without any teaching. Although their articulation was muffled, there was not much impediment when Yi Qingtang conversed with them. Mother! Little Luo Shui suddenly crawled to Yi Qingtang's side and patted Yi Qingtang's calves with his hands. Amazing! A laugh escaped Yi Qingtang's mouth. Before she understood what this little fellow was doing, Little Luo Shui suddenly pointed at Yi Qing uprightly and then patted his own chest. Yi Qingtang looked at little Luo Xue's strange behavior and faintly threw a guess. Could it be that you wish to be as powerful as me? Upon hearing that, little Luo Xue nodded immediately, and his eyes shone brightly as though Yi Qingtang guessed what he wanted to say correctly. He clumsily grabbed Yi Qingtang's skirt with one hand and little Yu Yun's hand in the other. Prosect. Yi Qingtang finally understood this time around. This little fellow wanted to learn martial cultivation from her to protect her and little Yu Yun. As she saw the tiny little Luo Xue's fearless and aspirational manner, Yi Qingtang's heart was about to melt. Alright, let mother look at your natural gift. Yi Qingtang grabbed little Luo Xue's hand, and a shocking force immediately enveloped little Luo Xue in it. Spirit root. Suddenly Yi Qingtang's expression changed. Little Luo Xue was just born, but his body already possessed a spirit root at such a young age. After inspecting it closely, Yi Qingtang was even more stunned. This little Luo Xue's spirit root was actually a purple spirit root. It must be known that on this mainland, even a blue spirit root was as rare as a unicorn, much less a purple spirit root. Yi Qingtang immediately inspected little Yu Yun. As expected, little Yu Yun also possessed a spirit root, and her spirit root was even more strange. It was actually pure white like a crystal-clear bone. Even Yi Qingtang could not tell its origin. However, little Yu Yun's spirit root clearly had an antique and ancient aura. After inspecting it for a while, Yi Qingtang's body shivered uncontrollably. Yi Qingtang was utterly speechless for a moment. Out of the two little kids who were born less than 1 week ago, one had a superior purple spirit root while the other was even outrageous and possessed a pure white spirit root that Yi Qingtang had never seen before. Perhaps monstrous talent was insufficient to describe little Yu Yun and little Luo Xue. Yi Qingtang immediately reorganized her thoughts and chuckled at little Luo Xue. Mother teach you cultivation techniques then? However, it's a little difficult and you must learn patiently. As he heard Yi Qingtang, excitement etched all over little Luo Xue's face, and he nodded energetically. Little Yu Yun also hurried over and had a diligent, studious look. Yi Qingtang handed a set of cultivation techniques to little Yu Yun and little Luo Xue. Initially, Yi Qingtang thought that little Yu Yun and little Luo Xue had never come into contact with cultivation techniques before and would require at least half a month to slightly comprehend the techniques. Nonetheless, after a short hour, Yi Qingtang was completely astounded. Martial Qi Level 1, First Heaven. Martial Qi Level 2, Third Heaven. Martial Qi Level 3, First Heaven. In just this short 1 hour, little Luo Xue's martial realm actually advanced from 0 to Martial Qi Level 3. Under the pretext of an absence of any contact with martial cultivation, he used only 1 hour to comprehend cultivation techniques and even advanced from Khanate to the Martial Qi Level 3 realm. If Yi Qingtang did not witness this personally, she would never believe it. At the same time, a frightening martial aura exploded around little Yu Yun. Yi Qingtang looked over, and she was even more stunned. Little Luo Xue merely advanced to Martial Qi Level 3 realm while little Yu Yun was even more straightforward and advanced all the way to half-step Yin-Yang Perfected Lord realm. For an ordinary little kid, it would require at least 1 year and more to be familiar with cultivation techniques, much less advancing in martial realm. Yi Qingtang previously thought that little Yu Yun was the energy source of the extraordinary lattice spiritual abode while little Luo Xue was the reincarnation of divine King Luo Xue. Perhaps because they were the reincarnation of talents, she thought that they would already be amazing, monstrous talents if they could understand the techniques in half a month's time. Chapter 11:10 Two Little Monsters. 3. Yet, little Yu Yun and little Luo Xue gave Yi Qingtang a mind-blowing surprise. Back then, after Yi Qingtang became a holy venerate, she had seen plenty of monstrous talents that were extremely gifted. However, compared to these two children before her, they were even more powerful. Little Luo Xue walked to Yi Qingtang's side and hugged her calf while staring at Yi Qingtang eagerly with bright eyes. Yi Qingtang stared blankly at the young boy. The corner of Yi Qingtang's lips twitched a little. This child was not in the least bit cute. Standing aside, little Yuyun looked at Yi Qingtang and little Luo Shui and smiled dreamily. This scene was extremely heartwarming. Father? Little Luo Shui looked at Yi Qingtang and asked with a baby voice. None. Little Luo Shui, be good. Let's continue cultivating. Yi Qingtang saw that little Luo Shui was becoming increasingly curious and immediately diverted his attention. After hearing that, little Luo Shui seemed to move away from the topic of his father and nodded at Yi Qingtang repeatedly. Yi Qingtang attached high importance to little Luo Shui and little Yu Yun's martial talent. These two kids had overly scary potential, and according to their potential, if these two kids could grow up healthily, they would become a true god. Deeply afraid that something would go wrong, Yi Qingtang even looked for perfected Xianxin. Although Yi Qingtang was a holy venerate back then and had a few disciples, she was not well versed with imparting martial skills and was way lousier compared to perfected Xianxin. Master, how is Xianling sect? After calling perfected Xianxin to the study room, she first asked this. Perfected Xianxin replied. Falling Sky Valley's disciple, Emo Changkong, is the son of Xianling sect's elder Emo. As per your intention, Emo Changkong has already brought the Xianling sect masses into the valley, and there's no issue with it. Yi Qingtang's heart was finally at ease upon hearing that. Did you call me here for this? Perfected Xianxin asked curiously. Nevertheless, Yi Qingtang did not explain and merely brought little Yu Yun and little Luo Shui to perfected Zuanshan's side for them to display their auras. At this instant, the two kids were floating in the air and seemed to really enjoy this feeling. This, perfected Xianxin was extremely shocked and dumbfounded. Little Yu Yun and little Luo Shui were only born not long ago but had already reached this martial realm. Afterward, perfected Xianxin learned from Yi Qingtang that these two little kids only used 1 hour to be skillful at cultivation techniques, and one had advanced to martial qi level 3 while the other advanced to half-step yin-yang perfected lord. Unbelievable! Truly unbelievable! Perfected Xianxin was extremely agitated as elation filled his eyes. Had he not witnessed it for himself, he would not believe it. Master, although I am a young lord, I am nothing compared to you in regard to imparting knowledge. I hope that you can guide them by their side. Yi Qingtang looked at perfected Xianxin and said. Perfected Xianxin flashed a smile and said, Qingning, don't worry. I will definitely do my best. With perfected Zuanshan's guidance on imparting skills, the two little kids improved at a rapid speed. In just 2 days, little Yu Yun's martial cultivation had already entered yin-yang perfected Lord 4th heaven while little Luo Shui's martial cultivation had entered the peak of yin-yang perfected Lord 2nd heaven. It was a miracle. Chapter 11:11 A single spark can start a prairie fire. 1. Apart from perfected Zuanshan's guidance, Yi Qingtang also took time out to impart high-level mental cultivation techniques, swordplay techniques, martial arts, lightness skill, and remarkable skills to little Yu Yun and little Luo Shui. Even a genius would require at least several years to attain great achievements in cultivating these martial cultivation techniques. Nonetheless, these two little kids were monstrously gifted and only used 2 days to perfect these cultivation techniques. Perfected Xianxin proclaimed that he had taught quite a number of outstanding and gifted disciples, but they were worlds apart when compared to these two little kids. He even thought that he was dreaming as the speed of the kids' improvement was truly too fake. In 2 days, they advanced to the peak of yin-yang perfected Lord 2nd heaven and 4th heaven respectively and even attained phenomenal success in the martial arts cultivation techniques that Yi Qingtang imparted. This was probably the potential of a god. The martial potential of the two little kids was too frightening, and Yi Qingtang had never seen such a situation in both lives. Of course, in her previous life, a holy venerate was not unparalleled in the second domain as there were numerous emperor-level powerful figures. At this instant, little Luo Shui floated in the sky, and his bright eyes looked at Yi Qingtang as he giggled. These two little kids are too unbelievable, perfected Xianxin marveled as he looked at little Luo Shui and little Yu Yun. If they continue on at this speed, little Luo Shui and little Yu Yun will probably be able to advance to the arcane supremacy realm in less than half a month. Perfected Xianxin looked at Yi Qingtang and said, A smile that was unbeknown to even Yi Qingtang filled her eyes as she looked at the two little kids. After hearing perfected Xianxin, she shook her head and said, "It shouldn't be. The higher the martial realm, the harder it is to advance further. Moreover, the spirit energy on this mainland is too thin and very limited. It is insufficient to support the arcane supremacy realm unless they leave this mainland." Perfected Xianxin did not refute her, as no supremacy had ever appeared on this mainland. A span of 2 short days seemed like an extremely short period of time, but a great change had already happened. The Yu ancient clan came to this mainland finally. From the north of this mainland, all the sects had been annihilated and subsequently reorganized as a force of the Yu ancient clan. Its speed was so swift that it simply left one tongue-tied. It was at this moment when Yi Qingtang and the rest truly experienced the might and fearfulness of the Yu ancient clan. Yu ancient clan was certainly a powerful ancient clan force with 10,000 years of heritage. To destroy this mainland, they did not use the normal methods that ordinary people thought of. They did not even need to use their own hands and instead used another, even more shocking method. They recaptured all the sects and family clans of this mainland for their own use and used them as cannon fodder to block all forces who dared to resist. In just a few days, countless big and small sects submitted to Yu ancient clan and did not have the slightest intention to resist. Yi Qingtang was not surprised by this situation. The spirit energy on this mainland was already thin, and yin-yang perfected lords were extremely rare. On the other hand, the martial realms of the powerful figures in the central mainland were much higher than those of the people here from the start. Yu ancient clan was widely known even in the central mainland. They had a massive force and countless yin-yang perfected lords. Those sects had never seen such a battle array before, and the sects at the northern mainland had completely fallen to Yu ancient clan without having Yu ancient clan to do anything. In the next half a month, the northern region of the mainland had completely fallen, and hundreds of sects and family clans became the cannon fodder for the Yu ancient clan. Black and White Holy Sun chuckled in the main hall of Falling Sky Valley. This is indeed a common practice of the Yu ancient clan. They could annihilate this mainland and cause an internal war without losing a single one of their soldiers. Perfected Xianxin nodded. Following powerful figures was an inherent mindset of humans, and whether they would kill each other was not something they could consider anymore. Yi Qingtang originally thought that after Yu ancient clan came to this mainland, they would come straight for Falling Sky Valley and capture little Yu Yin away. However, it now seemed that she had underestimated the Yu ancient clan. Why are you worried, Miss Yi? You just need to kill up north." A chuckle suddenly echoed around. Everyone was confused by the voice and looked around their surroundings. "Who spoke?" Yin-yang child asked with a frown. However, no one responded. When that familiar voice entered her ears, a strange look emerged in Yi Qingtang's eyes silently. Others might not be able to tell, but the voice of this person, this voice, why do I feel that it's so familiar? Yin-yang child suddenly looked at Yi Qingtang, and his expression changed in no time. Ling Yan. Upon mentioning Ling Yan, Yin-yang child looked around his surroundings almost instinctively but failed to see any trace of Ling Yan. Yi Qingtang also looked around but did not catch any sight of him. Then, she recalled that the source of the sound seemed to be near her, and she remembered that she had a voice transmission stone on her. Yi Qingtang immediately took out her voice transmission stone. Previously, when Yi Qingtang and Ling Yan were in the dragon vein, they relied on the voice transmission stone to communicate. She never expected Ling Yan's voice to ring from the voice transmission stone again. Upon seeing the voice transmission stone, Absolute Monarch of Heaven, Black and White Holy Sun, and the rest suddenly realized the situation. No wonder they could not find the owner of that voice after looking everywhere. "Who is Ling Yan?" a central mainland powerful figure asked curiously. The central mainland was extremely vast. It had millions of small nations, hundreds of big nations, and even several big dynasties. It was normal for the talented powerful figures to not know of each other or to even not have heard the names of other powerful figures. "Humph, don't you know Ling Yan? A prince of eternal dynasty and a good-for-nothing with no martial skills." Yin Yang child snorted coldly. Perhaps because he was tricked by Ling Yan before, Yin Yang child was full of hatred when he talked about Ling Yan. Yin Yang child, you have a grudge against that Ling Yan? The man in black armor sharply sensed Yin Yang child's strange tone and laughed immediately. Of course. Yin Yang child did not deny. You said Ling Yan is a good-for-nothing. If he is a good-for-nothing and you have a grudge against him, why don't you kill him? Given your skills, it should be an easy feat to kill a good-for-nothing, isn't it? The man in black armor said. Yin Yang child's expression changed immediately, and he glared at the man in black armor fiercely. Chapter 11:13 A single spark can start a prairie fire. 3. The male in black armor was rather baffled and did not understand why Yin Yang child glared at him. Was there anything wrong with what he said? Yi Qingtang had many questions in her heart at this moment. If Yin Yang child and the rest were not present, she really wanted to ask if it was Ling Yan's doing that the central mainland people were trapped in this mainland by the forbidden formation. After all, Yi Qingtang instinctively thought of Ling Yan when she heard of this incident. Yet currently, it was inconvenient for Yi Qingtang to voice her questions. If Ling Yan admitted it publicly, all the powerful figures from the central mainland, not just Yin Yang child, would probably itch to skin Ling Yan alive. Yi Qingtang immediately thought of what Ling Yan said and asked, Ling Yan, you want me to kill up north by myself? The north was currently dominated by Yu ancient clan, but Ling Yan actually wanted her to head there alone. Could it be that she accidentally offended this fellow and that he was here to take revenge on her? Of course, if you wish to bring a few more people, there's no issue either. A faint laugh could be heard in Ling Yan's tone from the voice transmission stone. Bullshit. Yin Yang child shouted furiously upon hearing Ling Yan. We are not going. Not only Yin Yang child, everyone present was unwilling to head there. The northern mainland had completely fallen already. Wasn't it seeking death if they headed to the temporary headquarters of the Yu ancient clan? Yi Qingtang could understand their reactions. Thinking from another perspective, she herself would not wish to head over as well. Ling Yan, what enmity do you have with this woman to tell her to head to the Yu ancient clan and court death? Yin Yang child snickered coldly. Clearly, Ling Yan did not have any intention to respond to anyone other than Yi Qingtang and did not reply to Yin Yang child's cynical remarks. Alright, I understand. When do you think I should set off? Yi Qingtang asked the voice transmission stone a long while later. Everyone present was stupefied by what Yi Qingtang said. After interacting with each other for a few days, the central mainland people faintly realized that this young girl with alluring looks had completely overturned the old saying of an outwardly attractive but worthless person, as she was extremely intelligent in reality. But was she really going after that person called Ling Yan anyhow bluffed her? Anyone with eyes could tell that heading north now was no different from courting death. This did not seem like something that Yi Qingtang would agree to. Or was it to say that this Ling Yan and this girl had an affair? Otherwise, why would she have so much trust in him? Yi Qingtang did not know what the others were thinking. Although she felt that what Ling Yan said was unexpected, his judgments had never been wrong to date. Since Ling Yan said that, he must have some insights. In this crisis, she was willing to take a gamble. Moreover, she did not feel that Ling Yan would harm her. Just as everyone was still in shock, Ling Yan's voice rang from the voice transmission stone once again. Right now. All right, Yi Qingtang said in agreement. As Yi Qingtang agreed cleanly, a soft chuckle sounded from the voice transmission stone, and Ling Yan's voice sounded right after. Rest assured, Miss Yi, I will stay by your side. You just need to listen to me throughout the journey. There was no sound from the voice transmission stone afterward. Yi Qingtang's lips twitched slightly as she looked at the voice transmission stage in her hands. Stay by my side? By relying on the voice transmission stone? However, considering Ling Yan's skills, Yi Qingtang instantly felt that it was better for him to use the voice transmission stone and move his mouth. Qingtang, I think this is unsuitable. Perfected Xianxun looked at Yi Qingtang with a deep frown and said, We don't know how many troops of the Yu ancient clan came from central mainland, but it could capture the entire northern mainland in just 2 days. It is evident how scary its force is. Qingtang, the odds will be against your favor if you go there alone. Eldest young lady, Perfected Xianxun is right. You should think twice. Elder Bai Kuei and Taoist Zijin persuaded her otherwise hurriedly. However, Yi Qingtang had already made up her mind. Since Ling Yan wanted her to head over, he must have his own ideas. Seeing that their persuasion fell on deaf ears, everyone stopped talking. Bai Kuei, Taoist Zijin, and a few others initially wanted to follow Yi Qingtang, but Yi Qingtang rejected them. She might not attack this trip and perhaps was only there as a scout to observe the situation. Having many people would be a hindrance instead, and if they really encountered danger, Yi Qingtang might not be able to save the rest. Yi Qingtang returned to her room swiftly and was prepared to leave after packing her things. Yi Qingtang just left Falling Sky Valley, and the little white tiger was beside Yi Qingtang since God knows when. The current little white tiger was larger than before, and its fur was even more obvious. An inexplicable aura could be vaguely sensed. "You're awake?" Yi Qingtang looked at the little white tiger and chuckled. "Fuck you. What a nap." The little white tiger yawned and said, "Every growing stage, we fiend celestial beasts will fall into a deep sleep. It's similar to hibernation of normal demonic beasts, but after I wake up, my combat power will increase by a fair amount." Yi Qingtang sized up the little white tiger and nodded. The current little white tiger was greatly different from before. If Yi Qingtang fought with her life on the line, she might not win against the little white tiger even before it was enlarged. "You woke up at the right time. Follow me." Yi Qingtang grabbed the little white tiger and placed it in her arms. Although the little white tiger was bigger, there was not much change in its frame. "Where are we going?" "I haven't eaten." The little white tiger looked at Yi Qingtang in confusion as he was completely unaware of the recent happenings. Yi Qingtang could not be bothered to explain to the little white tiger and walked ahead with great strides. "Holy lady!" A few steps later, a sweet and delicate voice rang behind Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang turned around instinctively only to see Ouyang Qian walking towards them. This person was indeed Ouyang Qian, but the spirit in the body was the Blood Moon Elder. Initially, Yi Qingtang let the Blood Moon Elder stay in the Ouyang family and did not bother with him as she had too many things to settle. Yi Qingtang originally thought that Blood Moon Elder had already returned to Blood Moon sect, yet it turned out that he was still in the Ouyang family. Looking at Blood Moon Elder's glowing skin, it was easy to tell that he was nourished very well in the Ouyang family and was probably so indulged in the pleasure that he forgot to return to Blood Moon sect. "Holy lady, I'm here." Blood Moon Elder rushed to Yi Qingtang's side hurriedly with a face full of smiles. "Stay in Falling Sky Valley first and wait for me to return." Yi Qingtang looked at Blood Moon Elder and said. After hearing Yi Qingtang, Blood Moon Elder actually behaved contrary to his usual behavior and shook his head repeatedly. "Holy lady, you are heading to the north of this mainland? That place is extremely dangerous, but I am very familiar with that place. There definitely won't be any wrong to bring me along." Before Yi Qingtang could speak, Blood Moon Elder said again, "Holy lady, moreover, you should at least let me possess a powerful figure's body and go back to a male body. Actually, it doesn't matter whether it is powerful or not. The most important thing is to return to a male body." Yi Qingtang shot Blood Moon Elder a look immediately. Given Blood Moon Elder's position as the eldest young lady in Ouyang family, he would have returned to a male body a long time ago if he wanted to. Noticing Yi Qingtang's reaction, the Blood Moon Elder was a little guilty, and he laughed awkwardly. "Actually, girl or boy, that is not important. The most important thing is to become even more powerful and possess a powerful figure's body." Yi Qingtang stayed silent for a moment. After sizing up the Blood Moon Elder, her lips suddenly curled up into an ambiguous smile. "Sure. Follow me then." The Blood Moon Elder shuddered instinctively when he saw Yi Qingtang's expression. Back when he entered the Hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm with Yi Qingding, she also behaved this way before, and afterward, he, a dignified man, became a little maiden. "Let's go." Without giving the Blood Moon Elder time to think, Yi Qingtang grabbed him and immediately ascended to the sky, disappearing without a trace. "Too fast already." The Blood Moon Elder was pulled into the air by Yi Qingtang. The moment he opened his mouth, a wild gust of wind gushed into his mouth, and his entire face was almost distorted. The Blood Moon Elder was shaken. He had only been apart from Yi Qingtang for a while, and now that they met again, her martial skills had already reached this frightening stage. Half a day later, Yi Qingtang finally arrived at the northern region of the mainland with the Blood Moon Elder. Yi Qingtang slowly landed on a small island and cast the Blood Moon Elder aside. Yin Yang perfected Lord 8th Heaven. The Blood Moon Elder stared at Yi Qingtang in astonishment. Over a few months, Yi Qingtang actually entered the Yang Lord realm. Holy Lady, your martial talent is truly frightening. The Blood Moon Elder stared at Yi Qingtang and exclaimed. Looking at the Blood Moon Elder's stunned expression, Yi Qingtang was, however, extremely calm. Frightening? If Blood Moon Elder saw little Luo Shui and little Yu Yun, he would then know what was truly frightening. Miss Yi, you should have arrived at the northern region of the mainland already, haven't you? Before waiting for Yi Qingtang to speak, Ling Yan's voice sounded from the voice transmission stone. Blood Moon Elder was slightly dumbfounded to hear his voice. Without explaining to Blood Moon Elder, she replied straightforwardly. I'm here. Miss Yi, there's no need to act rashly. The Yu ancient clan is extremely strong in discipline and planning. Before invading a mainland, they must have their own troops and deployment. You can understand the situation clearly first and inform me afterward, Ling Yan said with a chuckle. I think the same too. Yi Qingtang was in full agreement with Ling Yan's suggestion. To know one's own strengths and the enemy's was the sure way to victory. If they did not even know the basic headcount and troops of the Yu ancient clan and stormed into Yu ancient clan's temporary headquarters, it was simply seeking death. For the entire day, Yi Qingtang brought Blood Moon Elder around to survey almost the entire northern region of the mainland. Chapter 11:16 A single spark can start a prairie fire. 6. After a day, Yi Qingtang finally understood the basic situation of the Yu ancient clan. From Yi Qingtang's survey, the number of people from Yu ancient clan who came to this mainland was not a lot, only about 100 people. However, they brought thousands of battleships over. For every 5 battleships, there was one general who was in charge of attacking each sect. The Yu ancient clan was split into 10 teams, and each team had about 20 powerful figures who guarded 10 cities respectively. The strongest general's team conquered a city named Sky Star City. Simply put, to completely defeat the Yu ancient clan that came this time, they needed to destroy the 10 great main cities of the north. However, the 10 great main cities were not far away from each other. Thus, once something happened to a main city, the surrounding cities would immediately provide support. After understanding all of these, Yi Qingtang could not help but frown. Yu ancient clan's attack and defense were perfect. As they possessed unparalleled combat power, they also had a flawless defense, sturdy like an iron plate. The city nearest to me is Moonlight City, and it's already conquered by the Yu ancient clan with about 20 Yu ancient clan figures. After a long while, Yi Qingtang informed Ling Yan about everything she found out. Miss Yi, I understand the general situation already. You can head to Moonlight City now. Ling Yan chuckled. Head to Moonlight City. Yi Qingtang was surprised by what Ling Yan said. For what? Start a massacre. Ling Yan's devilishly charming laughter rang from the voice transmission stone. Moonlight City had at least 20 Yu ancient clan powerful figures, but Ling Yan wanted her to head to Moonlight City and cause trouble for the Yu ancient clan? Holy Lady, what feud do you have with this fellow? Blood Moon Elder stared at the voice transmission stone and could not help but ask. The Yu ancient clan was an old clan from central mainland. With 20 powerful figures from the ancient clan guarding the city, how would Yi Qingtang start a massacre when she headed to Moonlight City? It was more like she would be massacred, wasn't it? Blood Moon Elder had learned from Yi Qingtang of the recent events and even about the extraordinary lady and divine King Luo Shui. He was extremely clear of the current situation, and even though Yi Qingtang was a young lord, it was impossible for her to confront the Yu ancient clan. Don't you trust me, Miss Yi? Ling Yan asked softly. Yi Qingtang was silent. Miss Yi, before waiting for Ling Yan to speak again, Yi Qingtang said forthrightly, trusting you it is. Anyway, Yi Qingtang had witnessed Ling Yan's intelligence for herself. If Ling Yan was set to make her trust him, she had to believe him even if she did not. Yi Qingtang was completely uninterested in experiencing being tricked by Ling Yan. Thus, she might as well agree quickly. It seemed like he had heard Yi Qingtang's speechlessness in her tone, and Ling Yan's chuckle sounded from the voice transmission stone. The clear chuckle tugged at her heartstrings. Almost instinctively, she kept the voice transmission stone and concealed that chuckle. In the next second, she brought Blood Moon Elder with her and flew towards Moonlight City. About an hour later, in Moonlight City, a deafening roar and combat sounds could be heard in a super sect. The Blood Moon Elder inspected the place for a moment and mumbled. This sect should be Shunshao sect. It is one of the super sects in the north. Chapter 11:17 Wrath 1. The Blood Moon Elder inspected the place for a moment and mumbled. This sect should be Shunshao sect. It is one of the super sects in the north. Currently, more than half of the Shunshao sect disciples were killed, and the majority of the senior executives died in the battle. The sect master and grand elder were still fighting with their lives. Numerous black-robed middle-aged people with Yu stitched on their sleeves seemed to be killing the Shunshao sect people in an overpowering manner. Submit to you ancient clan and you'll live. Resist you ancient clan and you'll die. One of the black-robed men said in a low voice as he scanned the surroundings with eyes devoid of emotion. Grand Elder. Sect Master, save me, help. No. Some Yu ancient clan disciples used violent means to rip the clothes of the Shunshao sect female disciples and smiled lustfully. Are you all still human? How dare you all permit those young ones to do such atrocious things? An elderly from Shunshao sect yelled furiously upon seeing the scene, and a vein popped up on his forehead. Oh! One of the black-robed men said with an indifferent expression, kindness is for humans. Lowly ants of this mainland like you all are not considered humans to us. It is a blessing of your female disciples to be able to relieve the stress of my Yu ancient clan disciples. Father, save me, save me. One of the Shunshao sect female disciples' clothes were torn apart, and her fair skin was exposed. She shivered in the face of the brute gaze of the Yu ancient clan disciple before her as she desperately shouted to one of the sect elders in despair. Bastards! Let go of my daughter. That Shunshao sect elder hollered furiously and unsheathed his sword before slashing down at the Yu ancient clan disciples swiftly. Old thing, you're courting death. Noticing the situation, the Yu ancient clan disciple scoffed and stuck a palm out as he spoke. The air pressure from that strike instantly beheaded that Shunshao sect elder. Father! The female disciple whose clothes were ripped apart was dumbstruck, and she screamed in grief. These bastards! Even if I die, I will not let you all have your way. The female disciple's face was as white as a sheet, and she bit her tongue instantly. Then, her complexion turned ghastly white, and blood seeped out from the corner of her lips. She collapsed on the ground instantly. That Yu ancient clan disciple scoffed at the situation. What a damn spoil of fun. Afterward, he stuck his leg out and kicked that Shunshao sect female disciple's body dozens of meters away, forming an arc in the air before crashing into a pillar within the sect, which shattered into pieces. Looking at the female disciple's body again, it was already dismembered to pieces. Ah! The Shunshao sect disciples were in great despair after witnessing the sight. The skills of these people were too scary. While Shunshao sect was a super sect, they almost had no ability to retaliate in the face of these Yu ancient clan figures. You bastards! Shunshao sect master clenched his fists tightly and gritted his teeth but was extremely powerless. You don't know how to appreciate favors, one of the Yu ancient clan black-robed elderly said coldly. Kill all the men in this sect and bring the females away. The black-robed elderly ordered immediately. The Yu ancient clan disciples at the scene howled excitedly upon hearing that. No. Please, don't touch me. Don't touch me. Shunshao sect's female disciples were extremely tragic. Some tough female disciples knew what kind of torture they would face in the future and suicided at the scene while more than half of the men were slaughtered in a flash. At this instant, Blood Moon Elder personally witnessed the hell-like scene and was stunned. This is the central mainland ancient clan style of work? Blood Moon Elder simply could not understand how such a ruthless ancient clan could survive until now and even had an inheritance of 10,000 years. Were they still human? Even calling them beasts was an insult to beasts. Even Blood Moon Sect, who was known by this mainland to be the heterodox evil cult, had never done such shameless and low-down things. Yi Qingtang narrowed her eyes. Looking at the tragic sight, the miserable cries echoed in her ears, and all warmth had drained from her eyes. It was not the first time Yi Qingtang witnessed such extreme bullying of the weak. Wars between a high-level mainland and a low-level mainland had always been this way. In her previous life, Yi Qingtang once participated in a war between mainlands before and had seen plenty of such incidents. Just as that black-robed man from Yu ancient clan had said, kindness was for humans. If it was warfare between the forces of the central mainland, such things definitely would not happen. However, it was different when a high-level mainland warred against a low-level mainland. The superiority complex of people at high-level mainlands would make it so that they would never treat the cultivators of low-level mainlands as humans. In the eyes of these high-level mainlands cultivators, the low-level mainlands cultivators were no different from pigs or dogs. Slaughter or humiliate, they would not be guilt-ridden. This was the evil nature of humans. Despair enshrouded the entire Shenqiao sect. Looking at the devastating sight before his eyes, Shenqiao sect Grand Elder was pale as despair had almost drowned him completely. In despair, the Shenqiao sect Grand Elder could only pray to the heavens for a miracle to befall. However, when Shenqiao sect Grand Elder looked at the sky, his eyes coincidentally spotted Yi Qingtang, who was in the sky. Young Lord. Shenqiao sect Grand Elder was shaken for that moment. He clearly sensed the aura around Yi Qingtang that she accidentally revealed. That overbearing energy caused the Shenqiao sect Grand Elder to wince, and a trace of hope appeared in his eyes. Please, I'm begging you, young lord, please do something and save us. In his despair, the Shenqiao sect Grand Elder seemed to have found a straw to clutch at and immediately kneeled to Yi Qingtang. Although the Shenqiao sect Grand Elder did not think that a young lord would be willing to interfere in this matter, this was his last hope. Even if she could only protect these Shenqiao sect disciples, it was also fine. Sush. Almost at the same time when the Shenqiao sect Grand Elder kneeled down, Yi Qingtang's body turned into a flash of shadow and disappeared from the sky. When she appeared once again, she was already within Shenqiao sect. Her cold eyes swept across the hell-like scene before her, and the coldness in her eyes seemed to be able to freeze the air in her surroundings. In the next second, Yi Qingtang suddenly took a step forward, and her floating figure directly arrived beside a Shenqiao sect female disciple who was about to be humiliated. That lattice eyes were filled with fear. When she saw that the person who appeared before her was actually an exceedingly beautiful lady, she grabbed onto the edge of Yi Qingtang's clothes tightly. Save me? Chapter 11-19 Wrath 3. Who are you? How dare you poke your nose around? A Yu ancient clan disciple shot a cold look at Yi Qingtang, who suddenly appeared. When he noticed Yi Qingtang's stunning beauty, a vile expression flashed across his eyes. Do you also treat your mother this way? There was no expression on Yi Qingtang's face as she glanced at the Yu ancient clan disciple coldly. The Yu ancient clan disciple's face darkened immediately. With a sharp clank, he unsheathed his sword and wanted to slash at Yi Qingtang. I think you're tired of living. Sush. However, just as that Yu ancient clan was about to slash down, a gleam suddenly flashed by. Before he could come to his senses, blood spouted out from his neck. The man's body collapsed on the ground lifelessly and convulsed as blood gushed out from his neck. Most likely, even when he died, he still did not understand when exactly he was injured. The Shenqiao sect people were dumbstruck. This lady who appeared from nowhere was actually so decisive in killing and killed a Yu ancient clan disciple in an instant. The Shenqiao sect female disciple who was previously tugging onto Yi Qingtang's clothes tightly widened her eyes in confusion. There was no emotion on Yi Qingtang's face. She glanced across the scene coldly and immediately noticed that many of the Yu ancient clan disciples were around Yin Yang perfected Lord Fourth Heaven realm, while those senior executives in black robes had not entered the Yang Lord realm either. Logically speaking, the Yu ancient clan disciples should at least be in the arcane supremacy realm, and the senior executives should be in the divine arcane supremacy realm. Even after entering this mainland, their martial skills would not be as weak as this. Yi Qingtang's instant kill of a Yu ancient clan disciple caught the attention of the Yu ancient clan people. Lord, the black-robed elderlies from Yu ancient clan saw Yi Qingtang, who suddenly appeared, and frowned deeply. Let's go! After sensing Yi Qingtang's skills, one of the black-robed elderlies immediately waved a hand and wanted to command the Yu ancient clan members to leave. At this instant, Ling Yan's voice sounded from the voice transmission stone again. Miss Yi, tear the weed out by the roots so that it can never grow again. Without Ling Yan's reminder, Yi Qingtang also understood this logic. Although it was unknown as to why those senior executives of Yu ancient clan had not reached the Young Lord realm, this was an opportunity not to be missed to Yi Qingtang. You wish to leave? Yi Qingtang's cold voice was heard. The moment she spoke, an overbearing Young Lord aura filled the air instantly and enshrouded the Yu ancient clan figures in it. It sealed the entire Shenqiao sect completely and did not give the Yu ancient clan members any chance to escape. Who dares to go against the Yu ancient clan? A black-robed elderly roared furiously. Yi Qingtang cast a cold look at that black-robed elderly and slashed her sword across without giving him any response. Sensing the might from the Young Lord's strike, everyone was horrified and could not help but retreat backward. Under Yi Qingtang's slash, dozens of Yu ancient clan disciples were slaughtered on the spot while a few black-robed elderlies fled in all directions and riskily avoided the blow. Chapter 11:20 Kill 1. The black-robed elderlies were in the arcane supremacy realm in central mainland, but after coming to this mainland, their current martial skill realm was around Yin Yang perfected Lord's 6th heaven, and they were definitely no match for Yi Qingtang, a Yin Yang perfected Lord 8th heaven. In just a few rounds, 2 black-robed elderlies were already killed by Yi Qingtang. These condescending ancient clan figures would not have thought that they would ultimately die in the hands of a small young lord when they merely invaded a low-level mainland. Anyone who kills or injures a member of the Yu ancient clan must face dire consequences. You will be banished to the underworld and be suppressed for eternity. One of the black-robed elderlies glared at Yi Qingtang furiously. Killing one is a crime while slaying 100 is considered heroic. After I kill everyone from your Yu ancient clan, who else can banish me to the underworld? Yi Qingtang's eyes flickered as she spoke. It was as though the surrounding air froze. The Shenqiao sect disciples and senior executives were extremely agitated and cheered continuously. Did they really think that our mainland does not have anyone powerful? These invaders are so arrogant in our land, but aren't they still going to be killed by a young lord in the end? Long live young lord! Kill all these bastards! Young lord, after these bastards came to the north, they exterminated every being and killed all the citizens in Sky Star City. Many Shenqiao sect senior executives shouted. How hateful! The remaining black-robed elderlies gritted their teeth. If they were in the outside world, this bullshit young lord would be easily killed by the impact of their auras. If only our battleships carrying our water supply were not exploded by someone. A black-robed elderly's expression was extremely grim. They originally prepared sufficient food and water when they came from central mainland to this low-level mainland. However, halfway throughout their journey, their battleships storing water suddenly exploded for some reason. Afterward, the Yu ancient clan gathered water from nearby, but unexpectedly, almost all the water sources were poisoned. As such, after entering this mainland, their martial realms were severely suppressed and returned very slowly. The Blood Moon Elder who had been following Yi Qingtang heard her bold words and was encouraged. He immediately walked forward and scoffed at the Yu ancient clan people. You need to pay a corresponding price for doing evil on our mainland. He could not lose his Blood Moon sect demeanor before his holy lady. Just as the Blood Moon Elder was about to speak, Yi Qingtang had already turned into a flash of shadow and charged towards the remaining black-robed men. Currently, the black-robed men who were only at Yin Yang perfected Lord's 6th heaven realm could not block Yi Qingtang's attack. In 10 or so breaths, the powerful figures who were at the arcane supremacy realm in the outside world were all killed by Yi Qingtang. As for the Yu ancient clan disciples, Yi Qingtang did not let them off either and slaughtered all of them in Shenqiao sect. Thank you, young lord. Shenqiao sect will never forget your great kindness. Shenqiao sect Grand Elder walked forward immediately and bowed to Yi Qingtang gratefully. Before Shenqiao sect Grand Elder's knee touched the ground, Yi Qingtang walked forward and helped the Shenqiao sect Grand Elder up. This is our home. Now that our home is facing a calamity, how can we sit idly and not do anything? Chapter 1121 Kill 2 Shenqiao sect Grand Elder's eyes were filled with respect. What do we do next? Yi Qingtang suddenly asked softly. Young lord, we don't know what to do either. The Shenqiao sect Grand Elder was stunned. Yi Qingtang rubbed her temples and said helplessly, I was not asking you. Before the Shenqiao sect Grand Elder spoke again, Ling Yan's soft chuckle sounded from the voice transmission stone. Miss Yi, you can let all these people leave. Upon hearing that, Yi Qingtang nodded and had an idea in mind. This place is not safe to stay for long. All of you should set off for Falling Sky Valley in the Nine Knights dynasty immediately. Yi Qingtang looked at the Shenqiao sect Grand Elder and Sect Master and said, Shenqiao sect Grand Elder did not have any objections to a young lord's words and immediately agreed without asking for the reason. Now, we can completely destroy this city. Ling Yan's chuckle came from the voice transmission stone. Yi Qingtang nodded and stored her voice transmission stone. She first removed the space rings from the Yu ancient clan people before leaving. Given Yi Qingtang's current skills, it was impossible for her to open the space rings of those black-robed men. However, those disciple space rings stored many black-grade weapons and rare treasures. As Yi Qingtang walked around Sky Star's city, the huge city was lifeless as though it had become a dead city. Swoosh! At this instant, more than 10 Yu ancient clan senior executives flew in all directions and surrounded Yi Qingtang. Scumbag, how dare you kill a Yu ancient clan member? The leading black-robed elderly looked at Yi Qingtang and hollered furiously. I did not look for you all, but you all came to court your death on your own accord. Yi Qingtang swept across the people and snickered. Lord, after sensing Yi Qingtang's aura, the black-robed elderlies looked at each other with shocked expressions. How could Sky Star's city of this low-level mainland have a young lord? They had already checked that the northern region of this low-level mainland had no young lords. This was also why they chose to invade this low-level mainland from the north and then swallow the entire piece of land once their skills increased to the peak of young lord. Fuck you. Let me have some exercise. The little white tiger shuttled out from Yi Qingtang's embrace and instantly leaped out like a white bolt of lightning. Before everyone realized what had happened, the neck of one of the black-robed elderlies was already bitten apart by the little white tiger. Yi Qingtang was uncertain about the exact combat power of the little white tiger after waking up, but she could be sure that if she fought all out with the little white tiger, she might not win against the little white tiger steadily. Of course, these Yu ancient clan senior executives were no match for the little white tiger as well. In no time, at least 7 people were killed by the little white tiger tragically. Quick, call Elder Enifo. A black-robed elderly exclaimed immediately. Elder Enifo of Yu ancient clan was guarding a city nearby Sky Star City. As long as Elder Enifo came over, everyone would die regardless of young lord or not. Miss Yi, it's about time. Ling Yan's voice could be heard. Chapter 1122 Kill 3 Without waiting for Yi Qingtang to speak, a black-robed elderly heard Ling Yan's voice, and his expression changed instantly. Eternal dynasties. Ling Yan. Ling Yan's devilish laughter sounded. You ancient clan, nice to meet you all. Wait, on our way here, I saw a battleship from Eternal Dynasty. The black-robed elderly frowned deeply. Could it be that you were the one who sent people to destroy our water supply? That seems to be the case. If I've caused any troubles to you all, I'm extremely sorry, Ling Yan said with a soft chuckle. The Yu ancient clan senior executives were infuriated. They had no feud with Eternal Dynasty, yet this Ling Yan secretly sent people to guard the route that they would definitely pass by and destroy their battleships that carried their water supply. Had their battleships not be destroyed, how would their skills return so slowly? Could it be that you ancient clan senior executives' expression changed greatly? Are all the water sources nearby poisoned by you? Yes. Ling Yan laughed. Your water supplies were destroyed, and you all will have to search for new water sources. I laced poison in all 123 water sources in the surroundings. Unless all of you powerful figures don't need to consume water, it is definite that you all will be poisoned. There's no other way out. Ling Yan, you are so evil. What feud does our you ancient clan have with you? A black-robed elderly shouted furiously. Feud? There's none, replied Ling Yan. Since there's no feud at all, why do you want to lay a trap and harm us? The black-robed elderly had a dark expression. Why? Ling Yan laughed coldly. Of course it's because you all caused Miss Yi to feel troubled. Yi Qingtang was stunned by what Ling Yan said. Ling Yan, what does your eternal dynasty count as? Eternal dynasty will definitely be annihilated after offending you ancient clan. You will regret this. The black-robed elderly was enraged. However, Ling Yan laughed and said, I'll thank you all in advance then. I am being excluded by the imperial power in Eternal Dynasty. If you ancient clan is willing to clean up and even annihilate the Eternal Dynasty for me, that would be the best. The ancient clan senior executives were flushed. They were actually fooled by a prince of the Eternal Dynasty. Miss Yi, if you're not going to attack now, then when will you? Ling Yan said suddenly. Aren't you chatting happily with them? I didn't wish to disturb. Yi Qingtang shot a look at the voice transmission stone. No matter how much I talk to others, it cannot be compared to half a sentence with you. Ling Yan chuckled. Shen Qianshu stared blankly at the voice transmission stone. Why can this Ling Yan continue on with any topic? Did he mean that? Without uttering another word, Yi Qingtang activated the black-grade weapon in her hand and slashed the remaining black-robed elderlies. Yi Qingtang joined forces with the little white tiger, and in no time, everyone from the Yu ancient clan in Sky Star's city was killed. The Yu ancient clan definitely never expected that in such a short span of time, 1 out of their 10 teams was already completely wiped out. We're rich. Let's take all of their space rings away. We will split them half-half. The little white tiger said hurriedly. It had just grown and needed to replenish a large amount of energy. The space rings of those Yu ancient clan powerful figures would definitely have plenty of rare treasures. Chapter 1123 Demonic Creature 1 Yi Qingtang glanced at the little white tiger meaningfully. Before she could say anything, Ling Yan's voice was heard once again. Miss Yi, this place is not safe to stay long. Why? Yi Qingtang asked. Leave the city now and don't look back, Ling Yan said. Fuck you. This rich. It's easy for you to say. The little white tiger was full of grudges when it heard what Ling Yan said. Ling Yan was a prince and naturally did not lack valuable items, but it lacked many. However, before the little white tiger could finish its sentence, Yi Qingtang directly grabbed the little white tiger, which continued to complain incessantly, and dashed out of Sky Star's city without looking back. The Blood Moon Elder followed after tightly when he saw Yi Qingtang leave. You're really leaving? The little white tiger glared at Yi Qingtang. As the little white tiger finished speaking, an extremely frightening overbearing force instantly enshrouded the entire Sky Star's city. A pair of enormous eyes appeared in the sky, and black rays of light emerged in the eyes. Boom boom. The entire city shook tremendously. Outside the city, Yi Qingtang was shaken when she saw the owner of that pair of eyes. A pitch-black demonic creature near 100 meters tall was not wearing anything as it walked in the city slowly. With every step it took, the ground of Sky Star's city shook violently as though it was cracking apart. Looking at that enormous creature, the little white tiger could not help but swear. If it really remained in Sky Star City to search for its spoils of war just now, the little white tiger really had to give it to Ling Yan's brain. It silently turned to look at Yi Qingtang and said, What is that thing? Is it a monster? Yi Qingtang's brows were slightly furrowed, and she shook her head. The little white tiger could not help but turn around to look at that enormous, black monster in the city. No matter how its skills were, the visual impact was too shocking. A pair of eyes that were darker than the night contained destructive energy. Every inch of its skin seemed to have an explosive force. The creature, which was walking upright, hollered furiously. There were still many citizens who were alive in Sky Star City. When that enormous demonic creature appeared, the looming fear spread throughout the city rapidly. Everyone fled in all directions with their life. However, the human-looking demonic creature suddenly opened its mouth. As its mouth opened, a gust of wild wind swept into the city instantly. As the wild wind rushed in, the citizens who were fleeing away were instantly swept into the demonic creature's mouth. The cries of children, shrieks of ladies, laments of elderlies. All of these were mixed together at this moment, resembling a howl from hell and causing one to tremble with fear. The cries of fear and screams shattered everyone's eardrums. However, the miserable sounds ended very quickly, and a dead silence ensued. The 10,000+ people remaining in Sky Star City were all swallowed by that human-looking demonic creature in the blink of an eye. A blood-curdling chewing sound reverberated in the surroundings as fresh blood gushed out of the demonic creature's mouth continuously. A roar erupted from that demonic creature subsequently. The moment its blood-filled mouth opened, fresh minced flesh could be seen in its mouth. Chapter 1124 Demonic Creature 2 After witnessing this terrifying scene, even the little white tiger, a fiend celestial beast, was shocked. This is too scary. It was as though tens of thousands of citizens in Sky Star's city instantly became food for that demonic creature. The entire city turned into a living hell as an intense smell of blood enshrouded the city. The minced flesh mixed with blood continuously fell from the demonic creature's mouth to its legs. A half-eaten corpse of a child fell into a pile of blood with a thud. Only despair and fear from before he died could be seen on the child's originally innocent and pure face. As Yi Qingtang looked at the living hell before her eyes, her hands were clenched tightly into a fist, and there seemed to be a layer of fog in her eyes. She looked up slightly and looked at that human-looking demonic creature, which was walking upright. Even though there was a distance between her and that demonic creature, she could still clearly sense the dangerous aura around that demonic creature. Even with her young lord skills, it was impossible for her to have any chance of victory. Even if Yi Qingtang wished to save the people in Sky Star City, she did not have the power to do so. If she abruptly rushed into the city to save them, not only would she be unable to rescue anyone, she and the little white tiger would also lose their lives in the city. Yi Qingtang shut her eyes and took a deep breath, forcefully suppressing her anger, but the despair and wails echoed around her ears. Holy Lady, what exactly is that thing? This aura is too stifling. I even have problems breathing now. The Blood Moon Elder who fled out together felt that his breathing was a little hurried at this instant. Yi Qingtang opened her eyes slowly and forced herself to calm down. She automatically recalled that those Yu ancient clan senior executives mentioned Elder Yin Fo earlier on. Could it be that this demonic creature is the Elder Yin Fo that the Yu ancient clan people said? Yi Qingtang frowned slightly. The moment Yi Qingtang spoke, Blood Moon Elder's expression changed instantly. He raised his hand and pointed to one black, giant eye in Sky Star City. Holy Lady, this is bad. That giant eye moved slowly and landed straight on Yi Qingtang. TSK? At the same time, the human-looking demonic creature laughed sinisterly. Thump-sush. Energy rushed into the legs of the human-looking demonic creature, and its towering body jumped out of the city instantly with a terrifying smile on its face. Fuck you. Quickly run. The little white tiger looked at the human-looking demonic creature, which bolted towards them. It bared its fangs instantly, and its fur stood up. The extremely dangerous aura immediately caused the little white tiger to be in self-defense mode. Without the little white tiger's reminder, Yi Qingtang immediately fled away once she saw the demonic creature inching closer to them. Miss Yi, head to the next city immediately. Ling Yan's voice rang from the voice transmission stone again at the critical moment. What? Yi Qingtang frowned deeply. Currently, all the cities in the north were already conquered by the Yu ancient clan. She was now being chased after by a demonic creature. If she went there, wouldn't she be attacked from the front and the back? Chapter 1125. Demonic Creature 3. Don't worry. Just do as I say. There's me, Ling Yan said softly. Before waiting for Yi Qingtang to speak, a bolt of power of karma rushed from the voice transmission stone to the sky. Yi Qingtang looked in the direction of the scarlet power of karma and saw that it had turned into a huge Buddha, and it was in a battle with the demonic creature. What is that? The Blood Moon Elder's expression changed as he looked at that Buddha with limitless might. Realistic illusion? Yi Qingtang looked at that huge Buddha statue and mumbled. In her previous life, Yi Qingtang once knew about an illusory spell called realistic illusion. The energy of the realistic illusion swung between reality and illusory. It could confuse one's mind and was extremely difficult to differentiate. She just witnessed the power of karma explode from the voice transmission stone and turn into a Buddha statue. That should be the realistic illusion, as the Buddha statue did not really exist and was merely transformed by illusory energy, as Yi Qingtang had understood. Leave quickly. Ling Yan's voice suddenly rang. Without hesitation, Yi Qingtang immediately brought the Blood Moon Elder and Little White Tiger and fled rapidly. On the other side, the human-looking demonic creature was blocked by the illusory Buddha statue and was fighting it without revealing any weak points. Yi Qingtang knew a little about Ling Yan's skills. He seemed to be able to divert his remarkable skill using his karmic bloodline from millions of miles away. They had Ling Yan to thank today. Otherwise, with Yi Qingtang and the Little White Tiger, it would be very difficult to fight against the human-looking demonic creature. Ling Yan, you can tell what's happening here? The Little White Tiger could not hold back and asked. That's right. Ling Yan's voice could be heard a long while later. No wonder, the Little White Tiger was in thought. Miss Yi, that demonic creature is one of the elders of your ancient clan and is called Enfo. It is limited in my illusory spell right now. You can head to the city where Elder Enfo was at and take it down, Ling Yan said. Ling Yan's words verified Yi Qingtang's guesses. Estimating the time that Elder Enfo took to rush over for assistance, the city he was in was probably the city nearest to Sky Star's city, Wind Cloud City. After the Yu ancient clan invaded the north, it conquered 10 cities, and each city was not too far away from each other. A while later, Yi Qingtang descended from the sky with Blood Moon Elder and the Little White Tiger and arrived outside Wind Cloud City. Be careful, Holy Lady. How about we investigate first and verify that this is the city conquered by that Elder Enfo? Otherwise, if it's not and this city has another demonic creature guarding it, we will still die without a doubt. The Blood Moon Elder flashed an obsequious smile. Looking at the Blood Moon Elder's toady smile, Yi Qingtang nodded slightly and said, You're right. You'll go to investigate first then. You'll go? The smile on the Blood Moon Elder's face shattered completely. He pointed at himself with eyes popped wide and was completely dumbfounded. How he wished he could slap his mouth. Why did he blab for nothing? At the same time, in Sky Star's city, the human-looking demonic creature let out a low roar and immediately charged towards the huge Buddha statue in front. Chapter 1126. A fight between formidable opponents, 1. But for some reason, that Buddha statue easily resolved all the attacks of that human-looking demonic creature. The human-looking demonic creature found it strange. Logically speaking, this Buddha statue was so powerful and could clearly kill it with the flick of a finger, but this Buddha statue's moves were not threatening. Before the demonic creature could think further, a cloud of blood appeared in the sky. A cold man in a long blood-colored robe was standing in the air. His white hair swayed in the wind, resembling a true god of this generation. The Blood Moon Holy Lord looked at the demonic creature coldly. Blockhead. Upon hearing that, the demonic creature looked above and was stunned when it saw the Blood Moon Holy Lord. Although this person was a young lord, his manner was extremely imposing and could even cause it to instinctively shift to self-defense mode. Blood Moon Holy Lord clenched his fist gently, and a boundless might enshrouded that Buddha statue. In the next second, the Buddha statue was shattered by the impact of the Blood Moon Holy Lord's overbearing aura and vanished. Can't you even tell that it's an illusory spell? Blood Moon Holy Lord looked at the demonic creature apathetically. Who are you? The demonic creature's malicious eyes met Blood Moon Holy Lord's indifferent eyes and roared sternly. My identity is not important. Blood Moon Holy Lord was emotionless, but his eyes suddenly looked at the direction where Yi Qingtang went to. Find that lady from before, and kill her is what you should do. Oh, you do have a feud? The demonic creature stared at Blood Moon Holy Lord and asked inquisitively. You talk too much. A cold glint flashed across Blood Moon Holy Lord's eyes. Almost instantly, the demonic creature was repressed by Blood Moon Holy Lord's imposing manner. Boom boom. With an explosive sound, the demonic creature could not withstand the overbearing aura and lost its balance. Its knees fell onto the ground. How hateful! The demonic creature glared at Blood Moon Holy Lord furiously. This person's aura did not seem ordinary, but how could he only be at the Young Lord realm? You are so powerful. Why don't you kill that woman yourself? The demonic creature looked at Blood Moon Holy Lord and shouted angrily. It's none of your business. After saying that, Blood Moon Holy Lord retracted his aura. As the Blood Moon Holy Lord's aura dissipated, the demonic creature finally regained control of its own body and stood up slowly. Where is that lady? The demonic creature asked. So foolish. Blood Moon Holy Lord looked at the demonic creature and said coldly. After you left Wind Cloud City, she headed there. Hurry up and get the hell back. Then, Blood Moon Holy Lord disappeared in the air instantly. Humph! The demonic creature scoffed and rushed towards Wind Cloud City. Sky Star City had already lost one team, and if Wind Cloud City was also lost, the general would probably kill him. At that thought, the demonic creature roared furiously and ran at its fastest speed, disappearing in the blink of an eye. On a mountain in central mainland, Ling Yan opened his eyes immediately. Broke my illusory spell, Ling Yan mumbled thoughtfully. Interesting. Are you still unwilling to give up? Ling Yan's lips curled up slightly. What a pity though. Two can play at that game. Chapter 1127. A fight between formidable opponents. 2. The little azure dragon aside looked at Ling Yan and asked, Did that person appear? More or less. Ling Yan replied with a laugh. That's bad. The little azure dragon said, Do you have any means to deal with him? I'll let my shell meet him. How about that? Ling Yan looked at the little azure dragon and asked with a seeming smile. This is fine, but the shell does not have any thinking ability nor consciousness and only acts based on its instincts. How can you move it? The little azure dragon was rather perplexed. You're right. However, whose instincts does it have? Ling Yan's lips tugged up. Of course it's the instincts that you left behind, the little azure dragon replied. Since it is based on my instincts, the power of karma will do the job. Afterward, the karmic natal chart appeared, and the intense power of karma surged into the sky instantly. TSK. Ling Yan, you're actually doing so much for a girl. Could it be that you're really attracted to her? The little azure dragon looked at Ling Yan and could not refrain from teasing him. Before Ling Yan could say anything, the little azure dragon continued speaking. However, I must remind you that that person has appeared, and what he is about to do is not wrong actually. It's fine for you to stop him, but there's a pretext. And this pretext is that you must have absolute confidence to deal with the matters that Yi Qingtang will have to face after she survives. If Miss Yi dies, it's just another cycle. It's ultimately unavoidable. Compared to avoidance, I much prefer going against the heavens, said Ling Yan. I feel that if Yi Qingtang dies, nevertheless, before the little azure dragon could finish speaking, Ling Yan's gaze turned icy, and the little azure dragon could not help but shudder. I don't wish for you to say such things ever again. You understand? Ling Yan stared at the little azure dragon. Although there was a seeming smile on his face, his words seemed to be able to freeze everything in the world. Sigh. Man proposes, God disposes. Ling Yan, you've still fallen ultimately. So what even if you changed a shell? She and you are destined to have a doomed fate. It's a curse. The little azure dragon sighed. Ling Yan chuckled out of a sudden and said, I've always liked toying with and controlling fate. Have fate or heavenly Tao ever had the right to control me? Forget it. I believe in your intelligence more. I just hope that you can truly go against the heavens and change your fate. The little azure dragon said. The northern region of the mainland, outside Wind Cloud City. The Blood Moon Elder descended from the sky while panting and hurriedly looked at Yi Qingting. Holy Lady, I've checked. That demonic creature should be the guard of this Wind Cloud City. The most powerful person in this city now is only about Yin-Yang perfected Lord Sixth Heaven or so. We can massacre the city. Good. Upon hearing that, Yi Qingtang nodded and charged into Wind Cloud City with the Blood Moon Elder and Little White Tiger. The situation of Wind Cloud City was worse than that of Sky Star City. Millions of lives were already devoured by that demonic creature, with only you ancient clan people remaining. Time was limited. Without holding back, Yi Qingtang activated her Phoenix bloodline and ultimate origin skill to the maximum. Her body turned into a blazing flame, and all you ancient clan people in sight were slaughtered. In just an hour, the hundreds of you ancient clan powerful figures and disciples were all slain by Yi Qingting. Chapter 1128. A fight between formidable opponents. 3. Holy Lady, leave me a body. Blood Moon Elder saw that Yi Qingtang had killed all the Yu ancient clan senior executives and was about to weep. Although those senior executives only had a martial cultivation base of Yin-Yang perfected Lord Sixth Heaven on this mainland, it was only so because they were poisoned and the thin spirit energy on this mainland restricted their ability. If they were back at the central mainland, they were at least at the second stage divine arcane supremacy of the arcane supremacy realm. There's limited time. Yi Qingtang looked at the Blood Moon Elder. If that demonic creature rushed back, they would probably die here, and there would be no time for the Blood Moon Elder to possess a body. Holy Lady, you must leave me with one the next time. Looks, height, and age are not important. The only two conditions are for it to be a male and a powerful figure. I will not be greedy for more, the Blood Moon Elder said with a face full of smiles. Why are you so troublesome? Just possess anybody. So many requests. The Little White Tiger shot the Blood Moon Elder an eye. The Blood Moon Elder's lips twitched slightly when he heard the Little White Tiger. Had he completely become a woman in the eyes of this fiend celestial beast now? Die, all must die. Before waiting for the Blood Moon Elder to retort, a furious roar could be heard from outside Wind Cloud City. Yi Qingtang and the rest looked outside the city immediately. The human-looking demonic creature was back at Wind Cloud City. The illusory spell was broken. Yi Qingtang frowned deeply. Even a powerful human might not be able to escape from the high-level illusory spell that Ling Yan set using the power of karma, much less a demonic creature with a low spiritual sense. Given Yi Qingtang's calculations previously, it would take at least several hours for this demonic creature to see through Ling Yan's illusory spell, but only how much time had passed. Ling Yan, your illusory spell was broken so quickly? Yi Qingtang asked through the voice transmission stone. However, there was no response from the voice transmission stone at all. Ling Yan. Yi Qingtang called once again, but there was still no response. This damn Ling Yan actually dropped the ball at the critical moment. Unreliable. The Little White Tiger said. Without Ling Yan, how could they stop that demonic creature? Boom. Boom. At this instant, the human-looking demonic creature descended from the sky. Unable to bear the massive weight, the ground cracked instantly. Gusts of wild wind were stirred up as though a disaster had arrived. Yi Qingtang and the Blood Moon Elder retreated backward unsteadily. The demonic creature immediately scanned Wind Cloud City, and his eyes dilated when he saw that hundreds of you ancient clan people were killed. How? General will not let me off. General will be punished by the commander. General will kill me. The demonic creature roared to the sky in rage. Blood Moon Elder was alarmed. The human-looking demonic creature before them was already so frighteningly powerful. It was still so fearful of the so-called general, as though the general could kill it with just a thought. And what shocked the Blood Moon Elder the most was that above the general, there was still a commander. Exactly how big and powerful was this Yu ancient clan? How many powerful figures came? Chapter 1129. Kill her. 1. Looking at the demonic creature which chased up to them, Yi Qingtang calmed herself down and asked, "I'm curious as to how you broke the realistic illusion so quickly." The demonic creature was inches away from them now, and it was unrealistic for them to escape from Wind Cloud City. Since there was no way out, they could only fight with their lives. "Someone who wants your life? Who did you offend? Are you not aware?" The demonic creature glared at Yi Qingtang and said coldly, "Someone wants my life." Yi Qingtang was stunned by what the demonic creature had said. What did it mean? Die! The demonic creature roared. A wild wind was raked up, and a frightening demonic aura enshrouded the entire city. Swoosh! Yi Qingtang would not wait for her death. She activated the power of her divine phoenix bloodline to the maximum and slashed her sword at the demonic creature. However, that scarlet sword gleam with incredible destructive force only left a negligible scratch on that demonic creature's huge body. Perfect defense? Yi Qingtang was taken aback when she saw that the demonic creature was completely unharmed. This human-looking demonic creature's skin was like hard metal that simply could not be penetrated or destroyed. The demonic creature's perfect defense was unrelated to its cultivation realm and seemed to be a natural gift. Before Yi Qingtang could think further, the demonic creature threw a punch out at the speed of lightning. Almost instinctively, Yi Qingtang used her sword to block the blow. Boom! It was like a thunderous explosion. Yi Qingtang was flung hundreds of meters away by the blow, shattering several buildings in Wind Cloud City. Roar! The little white tiger roared furiously and charged towards the demonic creature. However, before it could get close, it was also hurled away by the demonic creature's punch. So damn painful. The little white tiger complained incessantly after landing on the ground, but it seemed to recall something and immediately stood up. But it isn't that painful. My defense became stronger. Holy lady! The Blood Moon Elder flew to Yi Qingtang's side hurriedly and helped her up. Whatever weird species that this demonic creature was, its strength and defense was close to perfect and was unrestricted by the martial realm. Even though it was in this mainland, its strength and defense were on par with an arcane supremacy and simply could not be fought against. Yi Qingtang's face was pale, and blood seeped out from the corners of her lips. She frowned and grunted at the Blood Moon Elder. "Quick, flee. This demonic creature was too powerful, and even she was not its opponent. If Blood Moon Elder did not flee now, he would definitely die." "Holy lady! What are you saying? How can I abandon you and flee for my life at this time?" Blood Moon Elder shook his head repeatedly. Blood Moon Elder had interacted with Yi Qingtang daily for more than 1 year, and they had been through so many things together. Their relationship was already beyond the restrictions of life and death. The Blood Moon Elder clenched his teeth. Even at this critical moment where their lives and deaths were concerned, Yi Qingtang only wanted him to escape quickly. "Oh, he must die." The demonic creature roared in fury, and a huge fist was thrown powerfully toward Yi Qingtang. However, before the demonic creature could act, a shadow flashed across the air. Boom, boom. All of a sudden, a blaring sound exploded in the air. Chapter 1130, Kill Her, 2. A cold-looking man that was as elegant as a god suddenly appeared beside Yi Qingtang. He suddenly stuck a finger out and directly blocked the demonic creature's powerful punch. When Yi Qingtang took a clear look at that man's face, she was instantly taken aback. Han Songming, why was he here? Swoosh. Without seeing how Han Songming moved, a sword gleam flashed by and pierced through the demonic creature's body. The moment the sword gleam flashed by, the demonic creature let out a miserable wail, and its body fell forward, causing a deep dent on the ground. Afterward, Han Songming turned around and looked at Yi Qingtang. It was just eye contact, but Yi Qingtang's body stiffened. In the next second, however, Yi Qingtang felt a trace of familiarity in Han Kangming's gaze. Every time she saw Han Songming previously, his eyes were extremely cold as though there was not the slightest warmth in it. However, for some reason today, there was actually a subtle difference. Han Songming was slightly confused as he looked at Yi Qingtang, whom he had not seen for a long time. He was originally on his way to Central Mainland, but for some reason, his thoughts seemed to be invaded by something, and he returned to this mainland. Even Han Songming himself was unsure why he returned. It was just that he instinctively thought that this seemed to be what he should do. Oh, you finally appeared. Suddenly, a blood-colored swirl formed in the air. In the next second, the Blood Moon Holy Lord appeared before Yi Qingtang and the rest. Younger brother? Yi Qingtang was perplexed when she saw Blood Moon Holy Lord. What was it with today? First came Antiquity Palace's Palace Lord, Han Songming, and then even her cheapskate younger brother, the Blood Moon Holy Lord, appeared afterward. If these two were here to save this mainland, Yi Qingtang would be glad to have two more incredible helpers. But given the current situation, Yi Qingtang vaguely sensed that something was off. Holy Lord! The Blood Moon Elder immediately bowed at Blood Moon Holy Lord. The Blood Moon Holy Lord's eyes passed by Yi Qingtang quietly, and a trace of emotion seemed to flash by in the depth of his eyes. When he looked up again, he told the Blood Moon Elder coldly, "Kill that person." "Holy Lord, you want me to kill him?" Blood Moon Elder was startled and instinctively thought that Blood Moon Holy Lord was instructing him to attack Han Songming, who appeared a while before. The Blood Moon Elder had goosebumps when he took a look at Han Songming. Before the Blood Moon Elder spoke again, Blood Moon Holy Lord suddenly raised a hand, and his slender fingers pointed at Yi Qingtang. "The person I want you to kill is her." Blood Moon Holy Lord's words stunned both Blood Moon Elder and Yi Qingtang. What was going on? Kill Holy Lady? Holy Lord, why do you want to kill Holy Lady? Blood Moon Elder was extremely shocked by Blood Moon Holy Lord's instructions. He could not believe it. Holy Lord actually wanted him to kill Holy Lady. Why? Are you questioning me? Blood Moon Holy Lord said without emotions. But Blood Moon Elder gritted his teeth. Holy Lord, I cannot follow your orders. Furthermore, I am not Holy Lattice opponent. Blood Moon Elder did not know what Holy Lord wanted him to kill Holy Lady, but if he really had to make a choice between Blood Moon Holy Lord and Holy Lady, even if I can defeat Holy Lady, I will not do it. Blood Moon Elder gritted his teeth and clenched his fists. Swoosh. As the Blood Moon Elder finished his sentence, the Blood Moon Holy Lord raised his right arm slightly, and a red gleam penetrated Blood Moon Elder's glabella instantly. Just as Blood Moon Holy Lord was about to attack, Han Songming took a step forward and dispelled that red gleam with the wave of a hand. Han Songming, why do you want to be in my way? Blood Moon Holy Lord looked at Han Songming coldly. A hint of confusion could be seen on Han Kangming's face. He did not know why either, but it was as though all of this was a given and that was what he should do. I did not look for you, and you came to offer yourself instead. This is good too though. As Blood Moon Holy Lord spoke, he turned into a blood-colored shadow and flew towards Han Songming. In just a moment, Han Songming and Blood Moon Holy Lord were locked in a battle dozens of miles away. Blood Moon Elder still had not recovered from the shock at this moment and looked at Yi Qingtang. Holy Lady, you betray Holy Lord? Betray? Yi Qingtang frowned deeply. When had she ever betrayed Blood Moon Holy Lord? Ever since the war at Xianling sect, she had never seen Blood Moon Holy Lord at all. What betrayal could there be? Furthermore, she did not do anything over this period of time. Yi Qingtang could not understand what outrageous thing she did for her cheapskate brother to want to suddenly kill her. The Blood Moon Elder understood when he saw Yi Qingtang's confused expression. He more or less knew what Yi Qingtang had done over this period of time, and she indeed did not do anything that betrayed the Blood Moon Holy Lord and the Blood Moon sect. Furthermore, although Yi Qingtang was Blood Moon sect's Holy Lady, she had not much connection with Blood Moon sect in reality, and there was no such chance to betray it even if she wanted to. But why did Holy Lord? The more Blood Moon Elder thought about it, the more confused he was. A thought suddenly struck Yi Qingtang. She looked at the severely injured demonic creature on the ground. When this demonic creature chased after them earlier on, it said that someone wanted her life, and Yi Qingtang thought that the demonic creature was perhaps referring to someone from the Yu ancient clan. But thinking about it now, it did not make much sense as that demonic creature was a member of the Yu ancient clan after all. Could it be that the person that the demonic creature said was the Blood Moon Holy Lord? It was the Blood Moon Holy Lord who helped it to break Ling Yan's realistic illusion, as he wanted to kill her with the demonic creature. Thinking of it now, perhaps only the Blood Moon Holy Lord could easily break the realistic illusion with his skills. However, Yi Qingtang could not understand why the Blood Moon Holy Lord suddenly wanted to take her life. If the Blood Moon Holy Lord wished to kill her, he could have easily done so when they first met a long time ago. Why did he have to wait until this day? Moreover, Yi Qingtang faintly sensed that although Blood Moon Holy Lord wanted to kill her, he seemed to be unwilling to do it himself. Regardless of giving the demonic creature a chance to kill her or ordering Blood Moon Elder to do so, it seemed that he wanted to kill her through others. Given his skills, it was clearly simpler for him to kill her himself. Yi Qingtang found the situation increasingly strange. Furthermore, judging from the reactions of Blood Moon Holy Lord and Han Sangming, it seemed that they knew each other as well. What exactly was going on? More and more questions flooded Yi Qingtang's mind, and it was probable that she would not be able to understand the current situation in a short time. Chapter 1132. This is impossible? 1. Since that was the case, Yi Qingtang stopped thinking about it and took out a pill from her space ring to consume. In a few breaths' time, her complexion was finally better. Currently, Han Sangming and Blood Moon Holy Lord were fighting outside the city, and she was pretty safe in the meantime. Yi Qingtang first looked at the demonic creature and then at the Blood Moon Elder. When Blood Moon Elder refused to carry out the Blood Moon Holy Lord's orders earlier on, Yi Qingtang was a little touched. Yi Qingtang immediately looked at the Blood Moon Elder and spoke. "Oh right. Didn't you want to possess a male powerful figure? There is one here. Time is limited. You must hurry." Blood Moon Elder was stunned after hearing Yi Qingtang, and he followed Yi Qingtang's gaze. His lips twitched when he saw that the person that Yi Qingtang was pointing to was actually the demonic creature on the ground. Was she freaking kidding? Although he was a woman currently, he was at least a human. Now, he could not even be a human anymore. What the hell is this thing? Can it be possessed? Holy Lady, this place is not safe to stay for long. Let's retreat quickly. Blood Moon Elder held onto Yi Qingtang and wanted to leave without uttering a word about the possession, acting as though he did not hear Yi Qingtang at all. If this demonic creature returned back to the outside world, it is at least in the arcane supremacy realm. It may even be in the heavenly venerate realm. In addition, it has perfect defense and strength. Yi Qingtang mumbled as though she was talking to herself. Blood Moon Elder immediately stopped in his tracks, and he looked at Yi Qingtang after thinking for a while. Holy Lady, it's not important whether it is powerful or not. The main thing is that I like this body as it is very manly and domineering. I like it. However, before Yi Qingtang could continue to speak, a blood-colored shadow suddenly leaped towards them and appeared beside Yi Qingtang in a flash. Younger brother, Yi Qingtang frowned deeply as she looked at the Blood Moon Holy Lord, who was inches away. Blood Moon Holy Lord looked at Yi Qingtang coldly as though he had no emotion. In the next second, Blood Moon Holy Lord's overpowering aura instantly enshrouded Yi Qingtang. What are you doing this for? Yi Qingtang asked under the pressure of the Blood Moon Holy Lord's overwhelming aura. Yi Qingtang believed things should not be as such between her and the Blood Moon Holy Lord and was all the more unclear why he wanted to kill her. Instead of facing suffering and misery in the future, why not just die earlier? The Blood Moon Holy Lord looked at Yi Qingtang and said coldly. Yi Qingtang was slightly shaken. What was the meaning behind those words? Holy Lord, please pardon Holy Lady. Suddenly, Blood Moon Elder kneeled beside Blood Moon Holy Lord. However, Blood Moon Holy Lord did not spare him an eye. Don't blame me. Blood Moon Holy Lord raised his right arm, and a blood-colored bolt of lightning emerged in his palm. However, before the Blood Moon Holy Lord could take any action, the Blood Moon Elder suddenly grabbed the Blood Moon Holy Lord's legs. Holy Lady, quickly run. The Blood Moon Elder turned to look at Yi Qingtang and shouted loudly. Then, the Blood Moon Holy Lord looked askance at the Blood Moon Elder and enshrouded him in his boundless aura. Holy Lady, quickly escape. Blood Moon Elder saw that Yi Qingtang did not react and shouted again. Chapter 1133. This is impossible. 2. Before Yi Qingtang could speak, Han Kangming's body flashed by, and he grabbed the Blood Moon Holy Lord's shoulder from the back before hurling him several hundred meters away. Are you very anxious? Han Songming looked at the Blood Moon Holy Lord and asked. Blood Moon Holy Lord floated in the air and replied coldly. We can continue slowly after I deal with her. Han Songming did not utter a word and rammed his fist towards the Blood Moon Holy Lord. Seeing that he could not get past Han Songming, the Blood Moon Holy Lord could only accept the battle. Boom boom. Boom, boom. Deafening explosions filled the air as though a calamity was impending. Two shadows, one red and one white, interlaced and created ripples in the air. Holy Lady, quickly leave. Blood Moon Elder immediately grabbed Yi Qingtang and dashed forward. However, before they could run far, a virtual image of an elderly appeared before them. The appearance of that elderly was exactly the same as the Blood Moon Elder's original looks. The Blood Moon Elder was stunned when he saw the elderly who looked exactly the same as his original self. Have you forgotten your mission? The elderly asked coldly. It was as though his voice penetrated through the netherworld and reached them. Who are you? Why do you look like me? Blood Moon Elder asked furiously. Who am I? The virtual elderly snickered. You're merely a split self of me. But did you even forget about this? Blood Moon Elder shuddered when he heard what the elderly said, and disbelief filled his eyes. What was this person saying? He actually said that he was only a split self. Even Yi Qingtang was stunned. Your existence is to be loyal to Blood Moon Holy Lord. Now that you wish to betray the Blood Moon Holy Lord, I'm afraid there's no need for your existence anymore, the virtual elderly said without emotions. Yi Qingtang sized up the virtual elderly in the air and frowned slightly. This image of the elderly was formed using pure mental energy. His original self should be far away, and he used mental energy to enter this place. However, to possess such frightening mental energy and be able to execute a remarkable skill that crossed space, this elderly's true cultivation base was at least above the heavenly venerate realm. It was even possible he was even a holy venerate. I am your split self. Who are you kidding? Blood Moon Elder stared at the virtual elderly in the air and shouted furiously. He was no one but himself, a real and existing independent body. How could he be someone else's split self? Oh! After hearing what the Blood Moon Elder said, the virtual elderly snickered. Since you're so sure that you are not a split self, do you have any memories from when you were young? This Blood Moon Elder was shocked, and he tried his best to recall his youth, but to no avail, as though he had no youth at all. No wonder. You have already died once, and your true memories should be forgotten already. Since that's the case, let me help you to recall your identity. As the virtual elderly finished his sentence, endless mental energy immediately enshrouded the Blood Moon Elder. Many scenes appeared in the Blood Moon Elder's mind almost instantly. The Blood Moon Elder was astonished. He finally recalled his identity. Just as what that virtual elderly had said, the Blood Moon Elder was actually really just a split self of that elderly. Chapter 1134. This is impossible. 3. 8,000 years ago, he was manifested by the elderly to follow and serve the Blood Moon Holy Lord for eternity without betrayal. They came to this mainland to search for a lady, and it was said that that lady was the reincarnation of the Heavenly Emperor's wife. Once the Heavenly Emperor's wife reincarnated and appeared, they were to kill her. This was the only purpose of their existence. However, time passed, and the reincarnation had yet to appear. 1,000 years caused them to gradually forget their initial memories. Blood Moon Holy Lord, Blood Moon Elder quivered slightly. Holy Lord is the mental manifestation of the Heavenly Emperor. I am a split self of the Heavenly Emperor's warrior. The purpose of our existence is to kill. Blood Moon Elder trembled even more intensely, and the last few words were trapped in his mouth. Just as he was about to say them, his eyes landed straight on Yi Qingtang. Why is it you? Why is the person to kill? What are you saying? Yi Qingtang was filled with surprise as she looked at the Blood Moon Elder. It seems that you finally recalled your mission. The virtual elderly looked at the Blood Moon Elder and said without emotions, Since that's the case, what are you still waiting for? This lady is heavily injured. Kill her now and your mission is considered completed. The purpose of my existence. The Blood Moon Elder trembled as he looked at Yi Qingtang. The very purpose of his existence was to wait for the lady before him to be born and then kill her. I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice ever since I exist in this world. The Blood Moon Elder's eyes dimmed gradually as though there was no warmth, and he approached Yi Qingtang slowly. When he was just several inches away from Yi Qingtang, the Blood Moon Elder suddenly turned around and slashed his sword at the elderly in the air. However, the elderly was manifested by pure mental energy, and the Blood Moon Elder's attack did not harm the elderly at all. On what basis do I not have any choice? The Blood Moon Elder's eyes were suddenly bright as he shouted sternly. I have my own thinking, experiences, emotions, and memory. I'm completely independent. Why do I need to be instructed by you? On what basis should I be an insignificant split self of you? If I can kill you, I can replace you. The virtual elderly was aloof when he heard the Blood Moon Elder and scoffed loudly. You're merely my split self. How dare you betray me and even think of replacing me? Forget it, since this is so, there's no point for you to exist anymore. Disappear. The virtual elderly raised his arm gently. As the elderly moved, the Blood Moon Elder uttered a piercing scream as though his spirit was experiencing unbearable torment. From afar, Yi Qingtang frowned at the situation before her. At her peak, she was once a holy venerate and naturally knew how to collect a split self back. All there was to do was to use one's own mental energy to invade into the split self's body. Evidently, that elderly wanted to collect the Blood Moon Elder's split self back at this moment. Chapter 1135. Protect One. Holy Lady. The veins on Blood Moon Elder's forehead popped up as he looked at Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang walked forward, and a black demonic aura spiraled around her. The energy of the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline was activated to the maximum. Yi Qingtang placed a hand on Blood Moon Elder's left shoulder and used the energy of the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline to devour the elderly's mental energy. Cooperate with me. Release all your mental energy. Yi Qingtang looked at Blood Moon Elder grimly. Okay, Blood Moon Elder nodded repeatedly. Without any defense from the Blood Moon Elder, Yi Qingtang's heavenly demon-devouring bloodline invaded into Blood Moon Elder's mental level easily and fully guarded his mental energy fully with her bloodline. As long as that virtual elderly's mental energy invaded in, Yi Qingtang's bloodline energy could devour it, and thus, the Blood Moon Elder could remain safe and not disappear. The moment Yi Qingtang guarded the Blood Moon Elder's mental energy, an impressive amount of mental energy suddenly rushed from that virtual image of the elderly to the Blood Moon Elder. In just a moment, the Blood Moon Elder's body seemed to have suffered a huge impact and trembled uncontrollably. Yi Qingtang's eyes darkened, and her grip on the Blood Moon Elder's shoulder tightened. That surge of mental energy wanted to invade into Blood Moon Elder's mind aggressively, but just as it filled him, the heavenly demon bloodline that Yi Qingtang injected into the Blood Moon Elder's mental level was immediately activated. In the blink of an eye, the surging mental energy was completely devoured by Yi Qingtang's heavenly demon-devouring bloodline. The elderly, who was originally waiting to collect his split self back, was surprised by the situation. He clearly felt that the mental energy he released earlier on was entirely devoured by a force in a moment. Instinctively, the elderly looked at Yi Qingtang, who was beside the Blood Moon Elder. Could it be that she devoured my mental energy? The elderly was uncertain, but he intensified the mental energy needed to collect the Blood Moon Elder back. Yet, no matter the extent that he increased by, all the mental energy that entered the Blood Moon Elder's body was completely devoured by that mysterious force in no time. What is going on? The elderly frowned slightly as confusion filled his eyes. Yi Qingtang looked up at the elderly with eyes blazing with anger. As long as I exist, you can dream on about collecting him back. The elderly was stunned. It's you who devoured my mental energy? That's right. Yi Qingtang admitted. Surprise flashed across the elderly's eyes. Never had he thought that Yi Qingtang actually had the ability to devour all of his mental energy. However, he was just a virtual image formed by mental energy, and the majority of its mental energy was devoured by Yi Qingtang already. There was insufficient energy to sustain this virtual image, much less collect back the Blood Moon Elder. The elderly in the air looked at Yi Qingtang in worry and sighed. "Holy lady, what did you call me?" Yi Qingtang's brows furrowed slightly when she heard the familiar form of address from that elderly. Chapter 1136, Protect 2. Don't be shocked. I share the same memory as my split self. I feel the same as how he feels to you, the virtual elderly sighed. Yi Qingtang was a holy venerate in her previous life, and she naturally knew that the split self's senses, emotions, and even memory could be shared with the original self. Plainly speaking, the Blood Moon Elder and this elderly were actually the same person. Holy lady, fighting alongside you over this period of time is a rare experience, the virtual elderly continued saying. Especially when I tried being a lady. However, no matter what, you must die. Being alive in itself is a cruel thing for you. What are you trying to say? Yi Qingtang looked at that elderly questioningly as she felt that he seemed to know something. You're merely taking that old route once again. It was with Heavenly Emperor in the last life. Perhaps it is the demon god this lifetime. However, you won't have any good outcome regardless. Instead of suffering endless torment and then dying, why not die earlier? The virtual elderly said. Demon god. Yi Qingtang was startled when she heard the elderly mention the demon god. She had no relations with the demon god originally, but because of the heart in her body that was known by everyone as the heart of the demon god, everyone was after her life throughout her entire previous life. Now, this elderly mentioned the demon god and seemed to imply that she had some connections with the demon god. Yi Qingtang found it bizarre. However, Yi Qingtang took a deep breath and scoffed. What a joke! What is meant by a cycle and taking the old route? I don't know what you're saying, but there is one thing that I am very clear of. Yi Qingtang looked up slightly. Her eyes were determined and bright. My life is in my own hands. No one shall think of controlling my fate. The elderly in the air shook his head. Actually, the elderly was unaware of what exactly happened to Yi Qingtang and merely trusted the Heavenly Emperor unconditionally. Since the Heavenly Emperor wanted her life, he must have his own reasons. In the eyes of the elderly, the Heavenly Emperor's words were the only truth in this world. Regardless of the reason behind the Heavenly Emperor's actions, the elderly would support him unconditionally. Alright, since you insist on protecting this split self, so be it then. The elderly sized up Yi Qingtang and disappeared slowly until he was completely gone. His mental energy was almost depleted, and this virtual image could no longer be sustained. Thus, he could only leave for now. When he noticed that the elderly disappeared, the tensed-up Blood Moon Elder finally sighed in relief, although it was evident that he still had not recovered from the shock. He turned to look at Yi Qingtang in gratitude and spoke. Thank you. Thank you, holy lady. Seeing that the elderly had left, Yi Qingtang removed her hand from the Blood Moon Elder's shoulder. The serious expression in her eyes faded away and was replaced by a meaningful look as she sized up the Blood Moon Elder. I never thought that you're actually a split self. The Blood Moon Elder froze when he heard Yi Qingtang and replied immediately. Although I am a split self, I've long forgotten that I am a split self already. I think that I should be the original self. Unless you can personally kill him as you said just now. Otherwise, you will always be a split self. Yi Qingtang discouraged the Blood Moon Elder bluntly. Chapter 1137, Possession, 1. If a split self wanted to become the true original self, the only option was to personally destroy the original self. Otherwise, it would remain as a split self forever. There'll be one day where I take revenge for today and kill him. The Blood Moon Elder scoffed as his eyes twinkled continuously. Yi Qingtang's lips twitched slightly after hearing the Blood Moon Elder. The elderly's martial skills were immeasurable, and even in her peak in her previous life, she might not be able to defeat that elderly. Allow me to remind you that your original self is very likely a holy venerate, Yi Qingtang said candidly. Holy venerate? The Blood Moon Elder's expression changed instantly, but it only lasted for a moment as he returned to his previous fierce expression. Humph. So what if he is a holy venerate? As long as I can kill him personally, all of his will be mine, and I will become a holy venerate as well. Then, the Blood Moon Elder suddenly changed the direction of his discourse and said, however, thinking about it carefully, I exist because of him. Forget it. I will be compassionate and spare his life. Yi Qingtang stared blankly at the Blood Moon Elder. When has this Blood Moon Elder ever been compassionate? Now that he had changed his stance, it was probably because he learned of that elderly's holy venerate cultivation base, and was frightened. Yi Qingtang was already used to the Blood Moon Elder's flexibility, according to the situation, and merely cast him a look plainly without saying anything. She directly led the Blood Moon Elder to the demonic creature's side and pushed him towards it. Don't say any more bullshit. Quickly possess it. This opportunity was rare. Han Sangming and Blood Moon Holy Lord seemed to have a feud, and no one knew where they had battled to. Blood Moon Elder looked at the demonic creature on the ground with a complicated expression. However, he abandoned his last principle and immediately moved forward to use his mental energy to invade the demonic creature's body. Who cares if it was human or not? If he still did not work hard to become more powerful, he would be killed by that old original self. However big the world was, his life was the most important thing. Blood Moon Elder had thought it through, but after a long while later, he panted heavily and was sweating profusely. He looked at Yi Qingtang dejectedly and said, Holy Lady, I can't do it. This demonic creature's mental energy is too strong. Given my current level, it's simply impossible to break through his mental defense. What the hell is this? He had already given up his rights to become human, but there was still such an obstacle. Yi Qingtang nodded. This was reasonable. It was easy for a high-level powerful figure to possess a low-level cultivator, but if a low-level cultivator wanted to possess the body of a high-level figure, it was almost impossible. Suddenly, Yi Qingtang raised her right arm, and a pitch-black flame floated in her palm. Before Blood Moon Elder's eyes, Yi Qingtang waved her hand gently and threw that destructive flame onto the demonic creature. At the same time, the demonic creature shrieked in pain as though it was a cry from the depth of his soul. The demonic creature was heavily injured and had lost all combat ability. Thus, it had no way of blocking Yi Qingtang's black flame. Yi Qingtang immediately looked at Blood Moon Elder and said, Continue. All right. Blood Moon Elder nodded and then used the power of his spirit to invade into the demonic creature's body. Chapter 1138, Possession, 2. It's a pity. Still short by a little. But compared to before, this demonic creature's mental defense is much weaker, the Blood Moon Elder said. Upon hearing that, Yi Qingtang continued to increase the amount and density of the black flame, causing the demonic creature to lose control of his mind. 15 minutes later, the Blood Moon Elder fell onto the ground with a pale complexion. It's so painful. The demonic creature slowly stood up from the ground and let out a deafening roar that resembled explosive thunder in the sky. Witnessing this, Yi Qingtang slowly retracted all her black flames as the Blood Moon Elder had clearly succeeded in the possession. I can't anymore. It's so painful. The Blood Moon Elder howled continuously. Yi Qingtang was calm to the wailing Blood Moon Elder and shrugged slightly. The demonic creature was already severely injured prior to this and was burned by Yi Qingtang's black flame when it was defenseless. Now that the Blood Moon Elder succeeded in possessing it, he was fully bonded with the demonic creature's body. It would be weird if he did not feel pain. Eat this. Yi Qingtang took out a bottle of healing elixir from her space ring and tossed it to Blood Moon Elder. After getting hold of it, the Blood Moon Elder poured all of its contents down his throat. However, this healing elixir did not seem to be effective on his new body and could only relieve a slight amount of the excruciating pain all over his body. Yi Qingtang's healing elixir was merely targeted towards yin-yang perfected lord figures, while this demonic creature's skills were way beyond the yin-yang perfected lord realm. Thus, this elixir did not have any special use for the Blood Moon Elder. The Blood Moon Elder sat on the ground cross-legged and used his own powers to heal himself. It had to be said that not only did this demonic creature's body possess perfect defense, but its healing powers were extremely shocking as well. In less than an hour, it had already healed 30 to 40%. Puff, the Blood Moon Elder panted heavily. Holy Lady, this demonic creature's body is really insanely powerful. It's good that you like it. Yi Qingtang looked at the Blood Moon Elder and chuckled. Blood Moon Elder immediately checked himself out and eventually wore a helpless expression. Apart from powerful skills, he was nothing at all. Oh right. Holy Lady, I think that I can hide in the Yu ancient clan, Blood Moon Elder suddenly whispered to Yi Qingtang. After hearing that, Yi Qingtang frowned slightly. Although this was a good idea, it was too risky. If Yu ancient clan grew suspicious, the Blood Moon Elder would be in an extremely dangerous situation. It's too risky, Yi Qingtang said after contemplation. Holy Lady, this mainland is about to be wiped out, and I view myself as a part of this mainland. If the Yu ancient clan had their way, all living beings on this mainland would die. It is extremely dangerous no matter where we are. Instead, it is better to initiate a strike. If I conceal myself in the Yu ancient clan, at least we can obtain information on the Yu ancient clan and their next step. It is easier to fight them this way. The Blood Moon Elder said rather agitatedly. Looking at the Blood Moon Elder's persistence, Yi Qingtang, however, felt like laughing. Tracing back to when they first met, who would have thought that there would be a day where the once brutal Blood Moon Elder would actually sacrifice himself for the common people? Chapter 1139, Shell 1. Ultimately, Yi Qingtang gave in and allowed the Blood Moon Elder to do as he wanted. At the same time, dozens of miles away, two immensely good-looking men stood in the air silently. A blood-colored long robe swayed in the wind as a pair of cold eyes landed on Han Songming. Han Songming, you could have stayed out of this, the Blood Moon Holy Lord said without emotions after a while. Han Songming was silent. I'm very curious. Are you really the demon god Han Songming? A long time later, Blood Moon Holy Lord asked once again, though he looked at Han Songming with suspicion and confusion. Han Songming was known as the demon god, but everyone knew that he was not a demon. It was just that his intellect was demon-like. Thus, people named him as the demon god. Although Han Kangming's martial skills were emperor level, it was slightly inferior when compared to other emperor level figures. What people were afraid of in Han Songming was not his cultivation base but his intellect. Compared to his intelligence, his emperor level skills were nothing at all. However, the current Han Songming was not the one in the Blood Moon Holy Lord's memory. The Han Songming before seemed to be a completely different person. Han Songming, Yi Qingtang's death is also greatly beneficial to you, the Blood Moon Holy Lord said coldly when he saw that Han Songming had yet to respond. No. Han Songming narrowed his eyes and ultimately spoke. My heart is in her body. Heart? Blood Moon Holy Lord's eyes flickered. So you believe that the heart in Yi Qingtang's body is yours? Han Songming did not reply, but his silence seemed to verify the Blood Moon Holy Lord's question. As a demon god who has a demon intellect, since when did you become an idiot? The Blood Moon Holy Lord looked at the silent Han Songming, and his suspicions intensified. You don't have any ability to think independently. Are you really Han Songming? Han Kangming's brows furrowed slightly. Swoosh. All of a sudden, without any warning at all, the Blood Moon Holy Lord formed a strange print with his palm. A blood-colored bolt of lightning appeared in the sky and struck down at Han Songming. Han Songming reacted swiftly and immediately descended to the ground, avoiding the Blood Moon Holy Lord's fatal blow. However, when Han Songming landed on the ground, two blood-colored metal chains shot out from the ground and trapped Han Songming tightly. As expected, the Blood Moon Holy Lord landed on the ground with his hands behind him a while later. I formed two remarkable skills just now. The first was a seal that activated from the ground, while the second was a small heavenly tribulation that activated from the sky. You only saw the small heavenly tribulation but was unable to think of the sealed boundary on the ground. The Blood Moon Holy Lord looked at Han Songming and said. Han Songming was emotionless and did not understand what the Blood Moon Holy Lord was saying. So, you're only a shell that acts instinctively, without any thinking ability at all. Blood Moon Holy Lord's eyes glistened. What a joke! I fought with a shell for so long. Only an emperor-level figure could slip away by withdrawing his soul to be reborn and leave his shell behind to trick the world. The so-called shell only had the emperor-level figure's instinctive thinking and did not possess any consciousness or emotions, including independent thinking. It was merely a power storehouse. Ah! An icy smile appeared on Blood Moon Holy Lord's face. Withdrawing your soul and leaving your body behind. Han Sangming, this lives up to your name as the demon god. However, just as Blood Moon Holy Lord spoke, the sealed Han Sangming suddenly flashed a wicked smile. The pair of distant eyes were now coated by a devilish charm, and even his cold face was more devilish now. It was as if Han Kangming's demeanor changed completely in an instant. Han Kangming's eyes slowly landed on Blood Moon Holy Lord as he laughed lightly. Heavenly brother, it's not too nice to bully my shell like this, isn't it? You're here. Blood Moon Holy Lord sized up Han Sangming once again when he heard that familiar tone. After knowing what happened to you back then, I've already predicted that I would be next. Thus, I withdrew my soul to be reincarnated. This body is only left behind to trick the heavenly Tao. There's no need to be surprised, Han Sangming said with a laugh. Since that's the case, why did you instruct your shell to hinder me? The Blood Moon Holy Lord asked coldly. Heavenly brother, you should know that the heart of the heavenly Tao has not been nurtured successfully and will be reincarnated endlessly. What can you do even if you kill Yi Qingtang today? After Yi Qingtang dies, she will be reincarnated once again, and she would still become a new holder until the heart of the heavenly Tao is nurtured successfully. Otherwise, there is no end. Han Sangming answered. If that's the case, I'll kill her every time she is reincarnated, said the Blood Moon Holy Lord. But Yi Qingtang is innocent, Han Sangming said with a smile. Innocent? Blood Moon Holy Lord's eyes turned cold. The heart of the heavenly Tao is in her body, and she is a holder. If I kill her, the owner of the heart of the heavenly Tao will have wasted his efforts and can only let her be reincarnated again to become a new holder. This is my revenge on the heavenly Tao. Furthermore, she will live a desolate life even if she lives. Why not die and not have to suffer? Ha! Han Sangming laughed suddenly, but his eyes turned extremely cold at that instant. Heavenly brother, I think that you're too full of yourself. You hate the owner of the heart of the heavenly Tao, but why must you put all the blame on Miss Yi? You said that her being alive is suffering itself, but I feel that she is living very well. You think that this is being good to her, but have you ever asked about her opinion? Furthermore, you and Miss Yi don't seem to be related. The Blood Moon Holy Lord was silent. The woman he loved the most had already died a long time ago, and even if Yi Qingtang was the reincarnation of his most beloved woman, their souls were completely different. They were two independent individuals. The reincarnation of a dead person was totally different from the person before death. This was the law of the world. As an emperor-level figure, the heavenly emperor naturally understood this logic. Heavenly brother, you treated that lady as your wife, but has she ever loved you? The only thing she cared about was martial power. She was even unwilling to give up on the heart of the heavenly Tao and believed that the heart of the heavenly Tao would bring her immense power. So be it if that kind of person dies. She is not worthy of such treatment from you, Han Sangming said. The Blood Moon Holy Lord was silent. As Han Sangming had said, although they were married by name, they were unlike husband and wife. It was such that even the woman he loved dearly had never loved him. So what? Two blood-colored light beams suddenly shot out of the Blood Moon Holy Lord's eyes. Chapter 1141, Shell 3. In a flash, Han Kangming's body was penetrated by the blood-colored light beams. Han Sangming, don't let me find your original self, or else you'll be killed, Blood Moon Holy Lord said. You don't know how to appreciate favors. Han Sangming broke free from the metal chains and fought the Blood Moon Holy Lord. The deafening battle caused the ground to shake and mountains to collapse. Boom! As a blood-colored shadow collided into a white body, a powerful wind was raked up in the sky. In the next second, both Blood Moon Holy Lord and Han Sangming crashed down and made an extremely deep dent on the ground. Cough! Blood Moon Holy Lord had blood on the side of his lips as he slowly stood up from the dent. Han Songming was also severely injured. Their skills could not be used to the best on this mainland and were highly restricted. Has the power of karma also reached its maximum? Han Songming mumbled. A while later, Ling Yan's soul disappeared from this body. Han Songming resumed his past aloofness. Seeing that he was heavily injured, he frowned and immediately bolted away in the horizon without a trace. On a certain mountain peak in central mainland, Ling Yan slowly opened his cold eyes. That's too risky, Ling Yan. The little azure dragon looked at Ling Yan and said. It's fine, Ling Yan said. It's fine. The little azure dragon scoffed coldly. You used the power of karma to enter your body. Heavenly Emperor must have sensed it now. Alright, of course you aren't afraid of Heavenly Emperor, but what about the Heavenly Tao? Are you not afraid that the Heavenly Tao will sense it? Heavenly Tao. Ling Yan looked up at the sky, and his lips curled into an icy smile. I'm afraid the Heavenly Tao has already become a demon Tao now. Whether I'm afraid or not, it is something you'll have to face eventually. The little azure dragon sighed. I hope that the Heavenly Tao does not sense it. Otherwise, all your efforts will be wasted. Oh right, what happened to Heavenly Emperor? Have you defeated him? The little azure dragon looked at Ling Yan and asked. Ling Yan chuckled. My body is wounded, but he is nowhere better either. He probably will not attack Miss Yi for the time being. What about your body? The little azure dragon asked curiously. It probably ran away, Ling Yan said and laughed. Ran away? The little azure dragon was surprised. If it's me, I would instinctively escape first and find a place to recuperate if I see that I am injured. His instincts are mine too, thus, it should have fled. Ling Yan explained. In Wind Cloud City, as Yi Qingtang looked the Blood Moon Elder's huge, hideous, and horrifying body, she wanted to stay away from him for some reason. Holy Lady, can you give me some respect? Blood Moon Elder put on a long face. I know that I am a little ugly right now, but you can act a little at the very least. Yi Qingtang stared at him blankly. Was this a little ugly? This was simply too hideous to see. Is it really that scary? Blood Moon Elder piled smiles on his face and looked at Yi Qingtang. It's better for you to not smile. Yi Qingtang shifted her gaze away instinctively as her eyes hurt. She really wanted to take a mirror and let the Blood Moon Elder see how unbearable of a sight his smiling face was. The Blood Moon Sect Elder stared at her. Aren't the two of you too dizzy with success? All of a sudden, the little white tiger poked its head out from Yi Qingtang's arms and said, Don't forget that the 10 cities are connected. With the fall of Wind Cloud City and Sky Star City, the Yu ancient clan will definitely be alarmed. Yi Qingtang's brows furrowed suddenly when she heard the little white tiger. Yi Qingtang was surprised by the appearance of Blood Moon Holy Lord and Han Songming, and she had forgotten about this issue. Yi Qingtang took a look at the Blood Moon Elder and then turned around and walked out of the city. However, before she could walk far, a cold voice suddenly filled the entire Wind Cloud City. Yi Qingtang looked in the sky almost instinctively. A middle-aged man in a long golden robe was standing in the air silently, exuding a frightening martial aura. As Yi Qingtang looked up, the golden-robed man also looked down at Yi Qingtang at the same time. It seems that it's you who annihilated my two teams. The golden-robed man looked at Yi Qingtang and said without emotions. This is bad. Yi Qingtang frowned deeply as an inauspicious feeling surged within her. This person's cultivation base was unfathomable. Even though this mainland could suppress a cultivator's cultivation base, the energy inside one's body was not suppressed. For Yi Qingtang, her body was filled with primordial qi, but the gold-robed man in the air had already advanced from primordial qi to the force of a heavenly venerate. To advance from primordial qi to the force of a heavenly venerate, one's martial realm had to at least be in the heavenly venerate realm. Even if Yi Qingtang had a similar martial realm as the gold-robed man, Yi Qingtang was using primordial qi while the gold-robed man was using the force of a heavenly venerate. These two energies were on entirely different levels. A world of differences. Yi Qingtang naturally knew that she did not have the slightest chance of victory when opposing the golden-robed man, who possessed the force of a heavenly venerate. At this instant, Blood Moon Elder's fists were clenched tightly as a somber expression filled his eyes. Elder Enifo, I told you to guard Wind Cloud City and look after Sky Star City back then, but is this your reply to me? Suddenly, the golden-robed man looked at Blood Moon Elder and said coldly. Blood Moon Elder was slightly taken aback by the gold-robed man's words. It was then when he suddenly remembered that his current identity was Elder Enifo of the Yu Ancient Clan. General, have mercy. The Blood Moon Elder's eyes brightened. His huge body suddenly kneeled down with a fearful expression. General, it's this lady. She lured me away from the base. The Blood Moon Elder knew that there were a few generals and one commander who came from the Yu Ancient Clan this time. Logically speaking, the captain would not appear easily. Thus, this golden-robed man before him should be a general. Are you sure you want to find an excuse? The golden-robed man asked. Blood Moon Elder secretly sighed in relief. It seemed that he had guessed correctly. This gold-robed man was indeed a general. General, I am to blame. Please give me a chance. I will chop this lady into pieces. I will kill her. The Blood Moon Elder shouted sternly. What are you still waiting for then? The golden-robed man said expressionlessly. Thank you for giving me a chance to amend my mistakes. The Blood Moon Elder stood up slowly before turning around to shoot a furious glare at Yi Qingtang and secretly gave her a wink. This lowly ant. I will kill you. The Blood Moon Elder hollered in rage. Can you do it? Yi Qingtang noticed Blood Moon Elder's discreet action but did not give anything away from her expression. You have a death wish. Then, the Blood Moon Elder threw a punch towards Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang's expression changed slightly after sensing the might from Blood Moon Elder's fist. This Blood Moon Elder was actually for real. Swoosh. Yi Qingtang naturally did not dare to fight head-on and leaped away instantly, avoiding Blood Moon Elder's powerful punch that was sufficient to cause an earthquake. Bitch, do you only know how to escape? The Blood Moon Elder shouted coldly when he failed to get her with the first strike. Yi Qingtang unsheathed her sword and immediately slashed down at the Blood Moon Elder. Nevertheless, the scarlet sword gleam only left a tiny scratch on the Blood Moon Elder's body. Am I actually so powerful? Too powerful? My unparalleled defense. The Blood Moon Elder was shocked to see the tiny scratch on his body. However, this was not the time for him to marvel at his might. He looked at Yi Qingtang and feigned viciousness. Lowly ant from this low-level mainland. You've angered me. Then, the Blood Moon Elder stamped a foot down at Yi Qingtang. Noticing the situation, Yi Qingtang dashed ahead swiftly. The Blood Moon Elder immediately chased after her. At this instant, Blood Moon Elder's colossal frame rampaged through Wind Cloud City, and many buildings in the city collapsed from the collision as though it was a natural disaster. Without turning back, Yi Qingtang had fled out of Wind Cloud City in no time. Do you only know how to run? The Blood Moon Elder pursued her with all his might and shouted thunderously. Just like that, the two people gradually got far away from the city. Until sometime later, near a spring at a mountain valley, the Blood Moon Elder shouted, Holy Lady, stop running. Hearing that, Yi Qingtang turned around to see that the Blood Moon Elder was standing beside a spring and had stopped the chase. It seems that the Yu Ancient Clan's general did not chase over. The Blood Moon Elder looked behind, and there was no sight of the golden-robed man. With the two people singing the same tune and with one running and one chasing, they managed to bluff the golden-robed man. Yi Qingtang also sighed in relief at the situation. The Yu Ancient Clan general's martial skills were too domineering, and given Yi Qingtang's combat powers at the moment, she was not his opponent at all. What to do? Worry was etched across Blood Moon Elder's face. The Yu Ancient Clan is too powerful in general. It is simply impossible to stop them with just a few of us. To oppose the Yu Ancient Clan's main force, this mainland required powerful figures who were around at least Yin Yang perfected Lord Sixth Heaven and even the Yang Lord Realm. Even a Yang Lord did not have much chance at winning against a general of the Yu Ancient Clan, and this was ignoring the fact that there was still another mysterious commander above the generals. Yi Qingtang was the only Yang Lord in Falling Sky Valley. If those Yang Lords from Peerless School, Phantom Valley, and Beiming Manor joined forces, There was a possibility that they could contend against the Yu ancient clan's main force. But despite so, they could only fight against the main force, and there was still no way to deal with the 3 generals and commander. Return to Falling Sky Valley first. Yi Qingtang looked at Blood Moon Elder and said. Blood Moon Elder nodded. They could only return to Falling Sky Valley for now. It was already considered impressive for them to be able to take down 2 cities by chance on this trip. However, before they could take any action, Blood Moon Elder's expression changed abruptly, and he glared at Yi Qingtang furiously. This ant from a low-level mainland. Let me see where else can you flee to. Chapter 1144, Giving One's All in Acting, 3. After Blood Moon Elder finished his sentence, he threw a heavy punch at Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang frowned slightly. Shifting her gaze a little, she saw that the golden-robed man was already floating above them and observing them. This fellow actually came over. Yi Qingtang lamented deep down, but she knew that the show that she and Blood Moon Elder put up would not end soon. A deafening sound echoed in the mountain valley. Blood Moon Elder's fist missed the target and caused a huge dent in the ground. Humph! Suddenly, a loud scoff could be heard from above. General? Blood Moon Elder immediately kneeled with one knee on the ground and looked up into the sky. Elder Enfo, are you unable to defeat a young lord from this low-level mainland? The golden robe man stared at Blood Moon Elder and questioned coldly. General, this lad's skills are exceptional. Please give me some more time. I will definitely be able to capture her alive, Blood Moon Elder said with cupped fists. Capture her alive? The gold-robed man said coldly, what would I want you to capture her alive for? Then please wait a moment, General. I will definitely present her head to you. Blood Moon Elder said hurriedly. Good for nothing. The golden-robed man waved his hand. You can't even settle such a small matter properly. Get lost. I will do it myself. Noted, Blood Moon Elder retreated backward immediately and made a path for the golden-robed man. Almost instantly, the gold-robed man landed on the ground slowly, and his cold eyes sized up Yi Qingtang. Oh, I never expected that you are already in Yin Yang perfected Lord 8th Heaven at such a young age in this low-level mainland. It's indeed considered a miracle. So, Yi Qingtang said coldly. Ah, the gold-robed man chuckled. I cherish talents. You are pretty gifted in martial cultivation. If you are willing to join and serve the Yu ancient clan for life, I can consider giving you a way out and spare your life. What do you think? Yi Qingtang sneered in her heart after hearing what the golden-robed man said. While what he said sounded nice, putting it plainly, he was merely telling her to become a slave of the Yu ancient clan. However, Yi Qingtang had never thought of turning her back against this mainland that she grew up in and joining the so-called Yu ancient clan just to keep her own life. What happens if I refuse? A cold glint flashed across her eyes as Yi Qingtang looked at the gold-robed man. Refuse? Yi Qingtang's reply caught the gold-robed man by surprise. In the past, their ancient Yu clan annexed low-level mainlands, and the powerful talents from these mainlands fought to become a slave for the ancient Yu clan to protect their lives. Yet, this lady from a low-level mainland actually wanted to refuse this offer. Of course, the ancient Yu clan will not force you for such matters. However, if you're unwilling to join, then you are an enemy, and since you're an enemy, the only route is to die. Afterward, an overpowering force appeared and enveloped Yi Qingtang in it. Yi Qingtang pondered after feeling the golden-robed man's aura. His martial skills were at least in the heavenly venerate realm, and he possessed the power of a heavenly venerate. Furthermore, even though coming to this mainland would reduce his cultivation realm, he was still at the peak of Yin Yang perfected Lord 8th Heaven while she was merely an ordinary Yin Yang perfected Lord 8th Heaven. Chapter 1145, Giving One's All in Acting 4. Regardless of martial realm or the source of energy in the body, Yi Qingtang was inferior to this golden-robed man. If they fought, the chance of her winning would be less than 20% even if she used all her cards. If they did what Ling Yan said and left Wind Cloud City earlier from the start, she and Blood Moon Holy Lord would not meet this golden-robed man. However, the Blood Moon Holy Lord's appearance completely disrupted Yi Qingtang's momentum, and she could not retreat early as per Ling Yan's plan. If I join forces with Blood Moon Elder, the chance of winning is only about 30%. Yi Qingtang estimated in her heart. A 30% chance of winning was still too dangerous, and even if she could really win, injuries were unavoidable. However, Yi Qingtang was at least 40% confident that she could escape. Since Blood Moon Elder wanted to enter the ancient Yu clan's headquarters, there was no need to bother with him, and the success rate of fleeing alone would be much higher. It seems that you ants from this low-level mainland have a backbone. However, the price of having a backbone is to pay it with your life. As the golden-robed man spoke, he swung a palm out. The power of a heavenly venerate rampaged through the place and slashed toward Yi Qingtang forcefully. However, at this instant, the Blood Moon Elder who was standing behind the golden-robed man acted, and his eyes twinkled dangerously. Swoosh! The moment when the gold-robed man launched his attack, the Blood Moon Elder suddenly smashed his fist at him. Sensing the frightening force that was coming in his way, the golden-robed man was slightly startled, and he looked behind instinctively. However, what entered his eyes was a metal fist that was comparable to a small mountain peak. The golden-robed man did not have any defense against the Blood Moon Elder. Caught off guard, he got hit by the Blood Moon Elder's punch that was thrown with all his might. A deafening sound erupted, and the golden-robed man was subsequently buried under the Blood Moon Elder's fist. Boom, boom, boom. As Blood Moon Elder's punch landed, the ground shattered, and the numerous cracks on the ground extended out like little snakes. Ah, idiots of ancient Yu clan. This person is a general with such a brain. Looks like I can be the clan master of your ancient Yu clan. The Blood Moon Elder guffawed when he succeeded with one strike. This new body was truly beyond Blood Moon Elder's imagination. Apart from perfect defense, it also had an exceptional perfect strength. Yi Qingtang was surprised by Blood Moon Elder's sudden rebellion. Although she knew that the Blood Moon Elder would definitely wait for an opportunity to attack, his timing was rather unexpected. What Yi Qingtang was more surprised was that this golden-robed man was completely unsuspecting of Elder Info. Otherwise, if he had any guard up against Blood Moon Elder, given his skills, Blood Moon Elder would definitely not be able to succeed with one strike. However, it was almost too unrealistic to kill that golden-robed man with just one punch from Blood Moon Elder. Elder Info. Suddenly, a bone-curdling cold voice that had a trace of anger sounded from the ground. Boom! Before their naked eyes, the ground exploded, and the golden-robed man emerged from underground. His golden Chinese robe was stained with dust, and there was a glaring trace of blood on the corner of his lips, making him appear rather miserable. Chapter 1146, You Are Thinking Too Much? 1. Even this can't kill you? The Blood Moon Elder looked in disbelief at the golden-robed man with a perplexed expression. The Blood Moon Elder currently had full confidence in the powers of his new body. Although his recent punch was not earth-shattering, it should have no problem crushing a few powerful cultivators. Further, the golden-robed man was caught off guard and received the full force of the blow. However, who would have thought that this golden-robed man could still survive after receiving the full force of this blow? Elder Info dare to betray the Yu clan? The golden-robed man said sternly to Blood Moon Elder with eyes completely devoid of expression. When he heard the golden-robed man's words, Blood Moon Elder's expression immediately changed. He waved his hand repeatedly. Lord General, you are mistaken. What happened just now was a misunderstanding. My blow was meant to crush that girl into dust. Who knew that Lord General would rush over so swiftly and block my fist? When he heard Blood Moon Elder's nonsense, a cold light glittered in the golden-robed man's eyes. Are you taking me for a fool? No, no, Lord General. Even if I had the nerve, I would not dare to offend you. I would certainly not dare to betray the ancient Yu clan. If you don't believe me, I can demonstrate again. With that, Blood Moon Elder threw another punch without giving the golden-robed man any chance to react. The golden-robed man would never have imagined that this Elder Info would actually throw another punch at him and was caught completely off guard. He was sent flying by the oncoming fist. The Blood Moon Elder's punch was extremely fast and instantly sent the golden-robed man flying. A few hundred meters away, a mountain peak collapsed under the impact of the golden-robed man's body. This time, even Yi Qingtang, who was standing nearby, was completely bewildered, not to speak of the golden-robed man, who had been ambushed twice in rapid succession. "Ah, I've always said that with your brains, why are you the general? Brat, veterans always have the advantage. You are just too inexperienced." "Ha." The Blood Moon Elder burst out laughing. When she saw the Blood Moon Elder's smug look, Yi Qingtang really wanted to go up and slap him. Considering the terrifying strength that Blood Moon Elder's current body possessed, the golden-robed man was completely within his control. He could curb the golden-robed man's movements, and together with Yi Qingtang's destructive black flame, the two of them working in tandem could certainly kill the golden-robed man on the spot. However, the Blood Moon Elder had missed two wonderful opportunities. Such great opportunities to kill the golden-robed old man, but the Blood Moon Elder had only given him 2 punches. Haha. Having succeeded twice, the Blood Moon Elder laughed loudly and turned to Yi Qingtang, his face filled with pride. In a smug tone, he loudly said, "Holy Lady, I think we have overestimated the general of the ancient Yu clan." When she heard the Blood Moon Elder's words, Yi Qingtang could not help but rub her forehead. She wanted to say something but was interrupted by Blood Moon Elder. "Holy Lady, we don't need to flee. If we work together, we can kill this general." "No, in fact, we don't need to work together. I myself can kill him." When Yi Qingtang looked at the smug Blood Moon Elder, she could not summon up even half a smile. The situation was not as simple as the Blood Moon Elder had assumed. If the Blood Moon Elder's new body was also in the Heavenly Venerate realm, then perhaps he could really do as he said. If his body possessed the same power as a Heavenly Venerate, he could just use the brute strength of his powerful body and bludgeon the golden-robed man to death. Unfortunately, Yi Qingtang had yet to detect a Heavenly Venerate's power in the Blood Moon Elder's body. They could only depend on this bogus brute strength to crush the golden-robed man to death if they captured him. But Blood Moon Elder had already missed the opportunity to capture the golden-robed man. As long as the golden-robed man was not an idiot, he would certainly not give Blood Moon Elder another chance. The mountain peak ahead suddenly exploded, and an after-image of golden light flashed across the void. The golden-robed old man was floating in mid-air, looking at Blood Moon Elder sinisterly. "Elder Enifo, you have indeed betrayed the Yu clan. Do you know what happens to those who betray the Yu clan?" The golden-robed man glared at Blood Moon Elder and said coldly, "Haha." When he heard the golden-robed old man's words, Blood Moon Elder laughed coldly. He said arrogantly, "Since when have I betrayed the Yu clan? It's just that I can't stand the sight of you. I feel that I am much more powerful than you. You should give your position as general of the ancient Yu clan to me instead. How about this? I'll kill you today and take your place as general of the ancient Yu clan. What do you think?" When he heard Blood Moon Elder's words, the golden-robed man's expression became rather puzzled. At first, the golden-robed man had felt that it did not make sense for Elder Enifo to suddenly betray him. Logically, it was improbable that Elder Enifo would betray the ancient Yu clan, and he had no reason to become a traitor. But the golden-robed man felt it was more likely that Elder Enifo was merely ambitious and wanted to become the general because he disliked him. "So you are competing with me for the generalship?" The golden-robed man laughed coldly. "Why, am I not powerful enough to take your place as general? I think there should be no problem. Are your fists as big as mine?" Blood Moon Elder waved his right arm, and an iron-hard fist, as big as a small mountain, waved in front of the golden-robed man. Swoosh! Without any warning, the Blood Moon Elder suddenly grabbed at the golden-robed man. However, the golden-robed man was prepared. His body flickered and he immediately dodged. The golden-robed man was aware of the terrifying strength that Elder Enfo's body possessed. Even he would suffer disastrous consequences if Elder Enifo caught him in his hands. "Elder Enifo, you have a death wish." The golden-robed man dodged Blood Moon Elder's blow and stood proudly in the void. "Ah, little one, we are in different realms. Also, my body is much more powerful than yours. On what basis do you oppose me?" The Blood Moon Elder laughed loudly and uncontrollably. When he heard the Blood Moon Elder's words, the golden-robed man said blandly, "In this mainland, all realms are the same, however, the ultimate source of strength in one's body can be of different qualities." As the golden-robed man finished speaking, a wild wind started to blow within the void. Ripples started to appear, accompanied by the suffocating power of a heavenly venerate. When he felt the force of a heavenly venerate, the Blood Moon Elder's expression immediately changed. It was as if his body was being crushed by the heavenly mountain that had fallen from the ninth heaven. Boom! The earth under Blood Moon Elder's feet instantly shattered, and his upright body was forced to bend under the oppressive power of a heavenly venerate. At that moment, the Blood Moon Elder looked frightened. The power of his new body was unable to withstand the oppressive force of the golden-robed man's aura. "Do you still want to be general?" The golden-robed man stood in the void. His bland gaze fell on the Blood Moon Elder, and he spoke coldly. However, before the Blood Moon Elder could speak, Yi Qingtang drew her sword. The crimson sword glow seemed to pierce the horizon as it slashed straight at the golden-robed man. Although the golden-robed man was powerful, the strength of his body could not be compared with that of the Blood Moon Elder. When Yi Qingtang's sword struck the Blood Moon Elder's body, it had no effect. But if it struck the golden-robed man's body, even with the protection of his heavenly venerate powers, he would probably be uncomfortable. Swoosh! An ear-splitting noise rang out, and in the next instant, the golden-robed man transformed into a shadow and vanished. Boom! The crimson sword glow struck by Yi Qingtang extended for a distance of 10 meters, and its aftershock completely destroyed a mountain peak. A meaningless struggle. The golden-robed man's figure appeared again. His inky black hair blew in the wind. He looked down on Yi Qingtang like a supreme master. Kneel. The golden-robed man's heavenly venerate power rushed forth again and crushed Yi Qingtang. Boom! At that moment, Yi Qingtang was trying to withstand enormous pressure. Her body felt as if it weighed a ton, and it instantly crushed the ground under her feet. At that moment, a black mist shrouded Yi Qingtang's body, and the power of the heavenly demon-devouring bloodline rushed forth. It frantically devoured the golden-robed man's heavenly venerate power. A pity that Yi Qingtang's heavenly demon-devouring bloodline was not of sufficiently high level, or it could instantly and completely devour the golden-robed man's ultimate source of strength and convert it for her own use. Oh! When the golden-robed man saw the black mist that surfaced around Yi Qingtang's body, he could not help but frown. Heavenly demon bloodline. Are you a member of the Jiang family? The power of the heavenly demon bloodline was unique to the family of Central Mainland's domain monarch. Only members of the Jiang family had the heavenly demon bloodline. When he recognized the heavenly demon bloodline in Yi Qingtang's body, the golden-robed man assumed that she was a member of the Jiang family. When she heard that, Yi Qingtang rolled her eyes. It looked as if the golden-robed man of the ancient Yu clan had assumed she was part of the Central Mainland domain monarch's family after seeing that she possessed the heavenly demon's bloodline. Yi Qingtang did not correct his mistake but laughed coldly and said, "Since you know I am part of Central Mainland's domain monarch's family, how dare you act so impetuously?" When he heard that, the golden-robed man said expressionlessly, "The ancient Yu clan has never had anything to do with the Jiang family. It was you who was too impolite. Even the domain monarch himself might not dare to act like that. Since you have violated the terms of peace between the two tribes, I will kill you and send your head to the domain monarch." Before Yi Qingtang could continue speaking, the golden-robed man's expression suddenly changed, and he swiftly hid himself somewhere in the distance. The place where the golden-robed man was standing suddenly contracted. At the peak of its contraction, it violently exploded. If the golden-robed man had fled a little slower, he would have been crushed by the force of the distorted space. "Who is it? Since you're here, why not show yourself?" The golden-robed man spoke coldly with a stern expression. Just as the golden-robed man finished speaking, a white-robed old man suddenly appeared in the void. Space technique. The golden-robed man frowned deeply as he looked at the old man standing casually nearby.